Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. I love that the show started with PJ going, time to rock and roll, and Mary T going, don't say anything. So it's fun. Welcome here to the show. Happy to have you here. And where would PJ be without MT helping to address the fact that he's always getting them words in. Always putting it out there. So PJ may have gotten the first word on today's show, but it is called Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And I'm happy to have Papa Joe here with us, and he can have the first word. I'll give it to him because he deserves it. So welcome here to the show. Happy to have you. We have a jam-packed, crazy show. We thought that we were going to get into this broadcast and talk about every single bowl game. Every single one. All 43 games. Addressing them all. And we are. But in the middle of the night, which is one of my favorite songs, Urban Meyer got fired. And Shad Khan sent out to us Jacksonville media people, hello, a very interesting email. And the one thing that I love, I'm not going to say the one thing, there's a lot of things that I like about him, but the one thing I really, really like about Shad Khan, transparency. What else I like about Shad Khan is he seems to write things that are not typical, speak of a GM or a president or a head coach. He seems to just say how he's feeling in the moment, and I appreciate it, and I respect it, and I'm happy to see it, because darn it, we need it. We need a little bit of honesty. And he threw a lot of bit of honesty out there, and I'm happy that we're going to share that with you today. And Dino Babers stepped to the mic yesterday, going into year number 7, and he said a lot of things. One of the things he said is got me, this morning. And it got you that way too. Because the fans have responded. I put the post up. I put the quote up of what Dino said. Just one thing that he said, one sentence in the whole 20-minute press conference. And folks, you have responded all night long. I believe at this point over 6,000 of you have seen this, and many of you have commented just on Facebook. So, we're going to talk about it all. At WakeUpCallDT on Facebook, at CallDT on Twitter, and at WakeUpCall_DT on Instagram. And let me be clear with you. This is not a witch hunt. Let me be clear with you. This is not a whatever versus Dino. This is common sense versus uncommon sense. This is caring about the community and not giving a you-know-what. This is Urban Meyer being better at grinding with a girl that's not his wife than he is his coaching. This is the bowl game special. But Urban Meyer and Dino Babers threw a little monkey wrench in here. However, it's going to make it for a better show. So with that being said, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. PJ and I are about to kill it today. We're about to take it, roast it, on that grill, take it off, cut it, it cuts like butter, eat it, enjoy it, and bring it to you. Today's meal is jam-packed. Today's meal looks like Thanksgiving on steroids, and I am so happy to be here with you. So with that being said, let me bring in the man of the hour on the inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that's going to help me have one of the funniest, most exciting, most give it to you, right to your face, right to your doorstep shows. PJ and I are Amazon Prime right now because we're delivering right to your doorstep. Papa Joe, how are you?
Good morning, Daniel. That's quite an introduction. I like it. But I know we're all fired up. At least I didn't wake up at 3 o'clock this morning and get an email, so I had to wait to read the sports this morning. So what can you say? It's been a friggin' soap opera down here since the get-go. I don't know what to say. I mean, it certainly is not surprising. Although I am questioning whether Shad could have waited to the end of the year. I mean, obviously he couldn't wait to the end of the year.
Yeah,
there's so many mountains of evidence against him. So all goes back to the grinding thing, and from there forward, it's all bad. His moniker when he was at Florida was Meyer the Liar. So you got a first-hand look at Meyer the Liar. He's been a pain in my ass since he was in Florida. So nothing. This doesn't surprise me. Certainly, the timing surprises me because I feel for the guys. Look, when you have your starting quarterback, who's a friggin' kid at 21 years old, addressing the media about the drama that happens around the Jaguars, something's not right with the organization. There should have been a senior guy step up and say, listen, this is the problem. Not a 21-year-old kid, for Christ's sake, even though he's the leader of the team. Where's the leadership in our team? If there was a problem that with Meyer all along, which there has been, players have spoken out. It happens. It happens that it's an unopportune time because clearly we're not going to win another game for the rest of the year. Yeah. So I guess it's just everyone is waiting to maybe advertise for jobs or something like that. Dino Babers certainly is an accomplished offensive coordinator, maybe even a head coach. But damn, this has got to stop, Daniel. This has got to stop because the fans down here that believe in the Jaguars and believe in Shad Khan, who bought it, are not happy. And it's unfortunate. Next time you see a Jaguar game on television, half the stands are going to be empty. That's what really hurts.
Yeah, and it's not even that. I mean, you brought it up. It's the next time you see a Jaguars game. When do you ever see one? You know what I mean? You got to basically live down the street from the stadium to know that the game's going to be televised. When I lived down there, the games were blacked out in Orlando, just an hour and a half south. I can't get a game up here to save my life. So it's just the reality of it all is this is not a team that the NFL wants to put out there and show the world. This is not a team that has been able to really show the world much of anything positive when they are out there. And here's the thing. You got a number one pick. You got Trevor Lawrence, this multi-champion at the high school and collegiate level, and it's marred by Urban Meyer. You almost kind of forget that they drafted Trevor Lawrence. You almost kind of forget about James Robinson. You almost kind of forget that they beat the Bills in that really great defensive game. You kind of forget everything. Because here's the problem with Jacksonville. And Shad Khan's got to take a good hard look in the mirror about this and really figure out, am I not seeing it? Is somebody else on my staff? Because the staff has changed. But they keep bringing in bad character people. People that are just a headache and just a problem. Urban Meyer is a talented coach, but he is a problem. Jalen Ramsey was a talented corner, but he is a problem. Telvin Smith is a talented linebacker, but he's a problem. Yannick Ngakoue was a good defensive end, but he was a problem. They keep bringing in these guys that are good, but they're also a pain. They're also dramatic. They're also causing you to have all these issues that take away from the game itself. They are consistently, under Shad Khan, they're people that have come into that building, no matter what they do, the people that have come into that building have made it ugly, have made it a disgrace, have made it a laughingstock, and they really need to take a good hard look at this, and Shad really has to do that, and determine, why is this happening? Why are these people getting on here? What is our vetting process? Because you have changed your coaching staffs multiple times, you've changed your players multiple times, but you keep having the same outcome. Bringing in not great character guys. They have changed the look of the arena. They have changed the stadium. They have changed what it looks like from the outside, from the inside, and I can tell you, in the media background that you don't get to see, they've changed what it looks like in this room, this hallway, this, that, and the other. They shut this off, they opened this up, they moved this bathroom, they made this a clear glass when it used to be a solid wall, but it's lipstick on a pig. Because no matter what they do to change what the stadium looks like physically, they continue to bring in the wrong character people. And it's killing this franchise.
For sure. Urban, I think the straw that broke the camel's back this time was yesterday there was some news articles about Josh Lambo saying that Urban had kicked him.
Yeah.
Saying, how about effing making your effing kicks or something like that, And Lambo said, hey, don't ever effing kick me again or something like that. And then Jones had a problem with Urban and walked off the field or gotten whatever. It's a soap opera, and it's come to a. And then Jones had a problem with Urban and walked off the field or pick up the pieces and say, what do we do now? What do you want us to do as fans and as backers and sponsors? What do we do? Do we still cheer for you? Do we hope we get a better coach? Do we get another franchise player? What are we supposed to do as fans? Now, you're right. When you pick up the TV columns and try to find Jacksonville, you're not going to find them anywhere. Now, I have the MLB, National League Football League packet, so I get them everywhere. And you're going to see it. You won't see it on your television up there probably, but I'll see it, and half the stands will be empty. But these are resilient people here. These are resilient fans. Even the fans that go back to Mark Brunell this time, they tried different things to work. They tried to bring in Tom Coughlin, who's the damn general. That didn't work. They bring in Gus Bradley, who's a really, really nice guy. That didn't work. Gus Marone, another really, really nice guy. That didn't work either. So I don't know what type of person can come in here and do the job. I'm not sure that if it's an offensive-minded coach and defensive-minded coach, you're supposed to get a figurehead as the coach and then hire coordinators to run your offense and defense. Some of these coaches, are the offensive coordinators themselves, like Andy Reid and so on. The guy at Pittsburgh, I can't even remember at Pittsburgh, but at Green Bay. Maybe you do something like that. Surely we need another jump start, another kick in the ass. But I'm not sure how many times the Jacksonville fans are going to be able to pick themselves up off the mat. This is another 15-round fight, and we've been knocked down several times already. I don't know if we're going to be able to get back up and fight again.
Yeah, and that's the thing. For the first time in forever, to quote Frozen, but for the first time in forever, I'm actually sitting here thinking, could they lose the franchise? I'm sitting in, and God, please no, may that never happen. But I'm sitting here this morning saying to myself, what in Sam Heck is going on with this team? How many times do you have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to realize there are no crumbs left to eat? There's nothing there. It is so disgraceful. They didn't make the playoffs in 10 years, a decade. A decade. The entire time I had covered them, for the most part, physically on site on location. I have seen the Mark Brunells and the Fred Taylors and the Jimmy Smiths and the Marcus Strouts and the Tony Brackens and the Tony Basellis and the Kyle Brady's and the Keenan McCardell's and on, and the Donovan Darius's and the Aaron Beasleys and the Mike Hollises come through this program. Natron means come through this program, come through this team, and be amazing and be incredible and be so strong. They came out as an expansion team and made the playoffs. They came out as a couple years into the league and went to the AFC Championship game. They beat John Elway and the Denver Broncos, for goodness sakes. This team is not a team. There is no leadership from the coaching staff. Urban Meyer saying, y'all go home on the plane. I'm going to stay here in Ohio. Blah, 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 BS. And then you see that video. If I'm a player and my coach doesn't come home with me and says, you guys better go home, do this thing. Listen, think about this. Think about this like a field trip, okay? Like a field trip. When you go on a field trip and the teacher says, all right, everybody get on the bus, everybody behave, I'm not coming with you. Ain't nobody going to behave on that bus. There's nobody there. So when the coach doesn't come on that field trip and doesn't get on the bus on the way back home or the plane on the way back home, guess what? Nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody is going to follow the rules. When your fearless leader does not come with you, some people have the personal responsibility. I do, PJ. Some of us will be good. Some of us will follow the rules. Some of us will go home and go to bed. but other people will not. He was never a leader in Jacksonville. I felt that from the beginning. He wasn't a leader when he didn't come home. He wasn't a leader when he went out on his wife. He wasn't a leader when he was immoral and disrespectful to his family. He was not a leader. He has not been a leader, and now he's gone. But I'm so sick and tired of, okay, let's try this. Okay, let's try this. Okay, let's try this. They never got the big name coach after Tom Coughlin. Then they made the splash with Urban Meyer. Didn't work. They tried the Doug Marrone. We're going to entrench a coach in Gus Bradley's staff, and when we fire him, he's already here for a couple of years. And that didn't work. It's not working. It's not flowing. It's not making sense. You don't have the right people in the building. This team is not just losing on the field. They have no direction off the field. Your leadership, you pushed out the door. Tim Tebow, Gardner Minshew, Chris Conley Jr. You pushed the leadership out the door. So now you got a rookie quarterback, a bunch of young cats, and who's your leader? Urban Meyer was never a leader on this team. I could have coached better than him. I could have coached better than him having never coached an NFL team before. By just giving a crap about these players. By just trying. By doing what I say I'm going to do, doing what I ask them to do, being an example. He was never an example. And that to me is the biggest disgrace of all. Is that you asked a team to be led by someone who doesn't seem to have it in him to be a leader. And if he does, he's buried it somewhere under sin, selfishness, and confusion.
Well, very well said. He's certainly has his problems. I think it all goes back maybe to his college days where he was kind of an intimidator. He was certainly a go-getter, a wonderful personality. He's an intimidator, but you're dealing with children. You know, you're not dealing with men. And I don't think he could flip the switch. I think he probably reached back into his college days and says, well, I used to do this at Florida and Ohio State, and this is how I did that and that and that. Well, you know, these are men and not children, not kids, and they need to be treated differently. You leave them alone. Let him be a man, but, you know, you've got to lead him. You got to tell him what to do. What's expected of us from this team? Go A, B, C, D all the way down the line and say this is what is expected of it. You know, maybe he's got some funky rules, like the rules about if you put the ball on the ground, you're going to come out of the game. Well, you don't take your best player out of the game because he fumbled. I mean, sure, you could maybe take him one play out, but don't leave him out for crying out loud. You know, get him back in the game. You know, when your quarterback has to say, damn, we need James on the field, please.
Yeah.
You know, and that, look, tell me if I'm wrong here, but we're dealing with Trevor Lawrence, who's a fine young man, upstanding young man. He's 21 years old. I don't even know if he's 21 years yet, but, you know, you don't have your franchise quarterback 21 years old out there to face the media. That's what bothers me. That's what bothers me about some of the Jaguars. Some of the older guys needed to step forward and say, look, I'm the leader of this team. This is what needs to be done. Soap opera's got to stop over here. All the drama's got to stop. Rookie quarterback, go back and sit down. I'll handle it, you know. But no one did get up and say that. I mean, as far as I know, they didn't. And here we are 2 days later, and Trevor Lawrence is still in the news. He's quoted as saying, look, we don't need the drama anymore. We just need to go play football. I remember 2 weeks ago we said the problem he had with what was happening was that he's not playing freer. You know, he's a good guy. I mean, he's a good quarterback. And if your rookie quarterback who's a kid comes in here and says, I got to play freer, and you got to have James in the ball game, you know, what does Urban not remember about that? You know, if you look at Urban on the sidelines, and I've had a lot of experience watching him, certainly, he's got his headset on, and he's listening, but he doesn't ever say anything. If there's a huddle or a timeout, he may walk over, but he doesn't say anything. If there's a play that needs to be called, Dino Babers does it. They got the offensive guys around him, and he sort of peeks in there, He doesn't say anything. Defensive coordinator the same way. So I'm not sure what he does on the field anymore. If he's allocating those jobs to his coordinators, which he should do, but certainly, you don't see Sean Payton or some of these other guys. They'll jump right in there and say, "Hey, I don't want this. Do this." He doesn't do that, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe he didn't grasp the offense all that well, but there's too many things, Daniel. There's too many things to go over. There's too many things that are wrong. But I don't even want to say this, but I'm going to have to. Is that I'm beginning to think that maybe time could be part of the problem. Maybe his ego is so big that he doesn't listen to any football people about perhaps who should lead his team.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong about that, but the history will. The next couple of days we'll learn. I think probably he'll go back to the drawing board again. He'll maybe talk to some football people, maybe call up Jimmy Johnson or anyone. Mark Kohler from Pittsburgh. What's his name? He's coached Pittsburgh. Anyway,
Bill Cowher.
He'll call people and get some information. Maybe he will be able to hire a coach from out of retirement, like Tony Dungy or someone like that. I don't know. Something's not right, and he's not making the right decision. I think he was probably snowed with Urban, and you can do that with him because he's a charismatic guy. He's a big guy. He's not a little guy. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
And Sean isn't a big guy. He's a little guy. So when you have someone over you like that, and he's coming at you with all sorts of flowery language, then this is what I can do for your team. This is what I've done in the past. Oil and water, buddy. It doesn't mix. You're not. Very few college coaches have made it in the NFL, and I think you recited that before. I think it's Pete Carroll and Jimmy Johnson, one of them too. I remember the greatest ball coach of every time at Florida, Steve Spurrier, the old ball coach. He couldn't make it as a head coach.
Yeah.
He went up to Washington after a year and a half, blew his brains out. So it's not an easy job, but I think Shad needs to maybe sit down by himself and say, I need to come up with a better decision. I've struck out 4 times now, and I can't do it anymore. I need to find a football guy that knows how to treat men as men and players as players. I don't know if there's anyone, Bill Cowher, that's who I was thinking about. These guys are, Bill Cowher is a class act. He's also a disciplinarian, too, just like Mike Tomlin. Yeah. Mike Tomlin may be losing his jobs up there in Pittsburgh, too, but someone needs to come in and take hold of the team and say, I've been here before, I've done this before, I've won championships before. This is my outline to get us where we're going. We got a 3-year outline. It's like I told you with Mike Novell at Florida State when he came in. I said in the 3rd year, which will be next year, he'll have a championship team, and he's going to be damn close to it. But that's what John needs. John needs to listen to a real football man, not sit down and talk over a drink for a couple, 3 hours. Go deep into his heart and say, listen, what is it? Am I doing something as an owner here wrong? Maybe I should call Jerry Jones and find out if I'm doing something as an owner wrong. Maybe he wants to sell a team. Maybe he will sell a team because he's just about had it. I don't think there's any out in that guy. I think he's going to want to keep going, but he's going to have to figure it out, and he's going to have to figure it out. Maybe using a different performer. So
yeah.
All I want to do is see the men treated like men, and the players treated like players. If he has to use discipline, that's fine. At least you'll know that coming in. If you hire Bill Cowher, he's a disciplinarian. If you screw up, you're going to be disciplined. But he's not going to take the best player out of the game for putting a ball on the ground.
No, and maybe he's talking to Miss Cleo. Maybe he's going to that mystic down the road and saying, who should I hire? Because he's not it doesn't make any sense to me. Well, it's like he's calling a psychic hotline. What do you think of Urban Meyer? I'm seeing dancing in your future. And he's like, oh, we're going to go to the Super Bowl? And they're like, yes. No, the dancing was that he was at his own restaurant dancing with this nasty. So, here's what Trevor Lawrence had to say, what Papa Joe alluded to. For those of you just tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, welcome inside of the Cafe Cubal Studios. We are with Papa Joe every Thursday, first hour from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Guess what? Papa Joe, he gonna pack it in and hang out with me here today because we climbing a mountain that's gonna take a little bit longer than an hour. So we got 43 bowl games to get through, and we didn't even touch them yet because we're talking about Urban Meyer, who allegedly didn't touch that girl. So we're talking about that. We're talking about Dino Babers in Syracuse and what he said. So many things coming up on today's broadcast. Folks, if you've never seen Wake Up Call before, you're going to really get to know my personality today, as well as Papa Joe. We're going to stay with Jacksonville before we jump into the Bulls, and then we'll head off to Dino Babers, Syracuse, and National Signing Day 2022 Part 1. So, let's stay with Jacksonville for a second. This is what Trevor Lawrence had to say. Trevor Lawrence, mind you, went 34-2 when he was at Clemson. College football playoffs continuously. National championship in 2018. ACC Player of the Year honors in 2020. And so on and so forth. He's on a team that's 2-11 right now, leading the NFL in interceptions. He said, quote, "You're always going to have some form of drama. I've learned that the NFL is just more drama in general than college, no matter where you're at. But you're right. There's been a lot. To your point, I do think that has to change, and that's something that we need to work on for sure. So you can't always be in the headlines. You just got to go play football, and that's where we're trying to get, and I have no doubt we'll get there, but for sure it has to change." That's what we heard from Trevor before we saw the end of Urban Meyer. But I want to put this up for you so you can see what I was sent last night. As a member of the media, we received this quote last night from the Jaguars, which I shared with you, and it's now gone public. This is something we were able to share for publication. The statement from Shad Khan, the owner of the team. "I thank Jacksonville for sending it forth, and I appreciate them sending it promptly." Here's the quote. "Darrell Bevell will serve as interim head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars for the balance of the 2021 season." I've never had anybody write that. For the balance of the 2021 season. Not the remainder, but for the balance of the 2021 season. I thought it was interesting to use the word balance. "Darrell succeeds Urban Meyer." That sentence was short. Boom. Darrell succeeds Urban Meyer, period. "After deliberation over many weeks," which shows that this was not an emotional decision made yesterday. "After deliberation over many weeks and a thorough analysis of the entirety of Urban's tenure with our team, I am bitterly disappointed." That's what I like about Shad. Talks about it. "I am bitterly disappointed to arrive at the conclusion that an immediate change is imperative for everyone." Not me. Not the team. Everybody. "I informed Urban of the change this evening," which was last night. "As I stated in October, regaining our trust and respect was essential. Regrettably, it did not happen." This is where Shad is saying, remember when I sent out a statement after he did what he did in Ohio with that girl that wasn't his wife? He sent out a statement and said he has to regain our trust of everyone in this building. And Shad kept his word. 2 months later, "As I stated in October, regaining our trust and respect was essential. Regrettably, it did not happen. I told him what he needed to do, and he didn't do it." I like that Shad mentioned that. He said, "Trent Baalke continues as our general manager." And that quote to me, why even involve Trent? This tells me that Trent could be on the chopping block. This tells me, he's here for now. That's what I took from this. "Trent Baalke continues as our general manager." Because if I'm Trent, I'm like, why are you bringing my name up? I'm not Urban. I didn't dance on no girl. So Trent Baalke continues as our general manager and will work with Darrell to ensure that our team will be inspired and competitive. Another word, interesting to use, inspired. "While representing Jacksonville proudly over our final 4 games of the season. In the spirit of closure and recharging our players, staff, and fan base, I will not comment further." And normally everybody ends there. Boom, period. "I will not comment further," bang. He didn't say that. "I will not comment further until some point following the conclusion of the NFL season." Shad Khan, if for nothing else, has had transparency. He told us what he didn't have to tell us. He could have just said, hey, we let him go. And he didn't have to say anything. But he said something. And then after he said something, what did he say? I'm not going to comment any further until some point after the season. So Shad's saying, hey, listen, I'm not done. I'll talk about it. Just give me some time. Shad has not made the best of hires, but darn it if this man doesn't tell us what he's thinking, what he's feeling. He doesn't just give us a sentence. He knows how to talk when something bad happens. Social injustice, coaching issues. He knows how to talk when something bad happens. So I would challenge Shad to say, thank you for that. And now I'm going to one-up you and say, not one-up you, but I'm going to ask you to level up. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being forthright. Thank you for coming out to us and telling us what you're thinking and feeling. Comma. Now can you make some better decisions? And I know nothing's foolproof, but can you make some better decisions? Because you're really good at talking to us about a bad situation. You're really good at addressing drama. But you know what I would really like? You to send us a statement about how you made a decision and it benefited the city and it benefited the team and they're going to the Super Bowl because you're really, really good. You're very eloquent at speaking. But I don't want to hear you have to speak your way out of another black hole. So can we please make a better decision, which I know is not a perfect one, but in the future. Shad, I love the way you talk, but I would love for you to hire a coach who knows how to do it as well.
True. There are some guys out there that would love to coach this team, especially with a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, who you can manipulate into being really a really good player. I mentioned a couple coaches that I thought maybe Bill Cowher's always been. He's always been neat to me. He sits there and he talks the game really well on the NFL shows. I mean, he's a good speaker. He sure knows the game. I just don't know they must be paying him a lot of money to not go on the field because he certainly would love to take over a franchise like this. There are some other coaches out there, but maybe ones that are tied up. Maybe I guarantee he's not going to be another college coach. That's for sure. He's going to need to find a leader of men who knows how to speak to men, who knows how to discipline and not let a man feel like a child. It has to be that way. It has to be that way. Sean, I don't know him at all. I mean, I know what you say and what I hear on my own telecast down here. He certainly is a fine man. He's certainly a very successful man. But something in his performa and his thought process is not allowing him to make the right decision here. Because he struck out 3 times here, and you only get 3 strikes. So, the next one is a out the door deal. So he's got to come up with a pure football man.
Do you think he was attracted? Do you think he was kind of because Urban Meyer brings the championships from Florida and Ohio State? Do you think that Shad was almost caught up by the flash? Not to interrupt, but I wanted to hit this point because you were talking about striking out and whatnot and making these decisions and needing to look himself in the mirror as to why he made them. Do you think that, to kind of put an analogy to this, was Shad Khan kind of blown away by how beautiful the girl was without really knowing who she was as a person?
Oh, that's true. It's a good comparison, since we're talking about a young girl.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Shad, the performer for this job, is not what he thinks it is. There's no doubt in my mind that Urban snowed him because of his ability to lead young men and to win in 1, 2, 3. He won at 4 different universities. He won at Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, and Ohio State. His record is ridiculous. I mean, ridiculously good. But in this particular situation, it wasn't the best. I think that Shad was snowed by this guy, which leads anyone to believe that a good salesman can get duped all the time. and Shad got duped by Urban's free-flowing way and his way he talks and the way he sits and eyes you and said, I want to do this, I want to do that. You know, he listened to all that and he believed it.
Yeah.
And if he had, here's a man who's a multi-billionaire who makes financial decisions all around the world almost daily or weekly.
Yeah.
Here he comes up with a decision like this that was the wrong decision. Gus was the wrong decision. Doug was the wrong decision. So, you know, those guys are football guys too, but something's not right. Whoever's giving him information is not giving him the right information. I think he just needs to maybe lock himself in a room for 2 or 3 days, maybe go over the history of NFL, some of his coaches, and see what makes a coach tick. Why is it someone so impressive? Why is he successful? Look at Mike Tomlin. I mean, I'm sure he took over for Cowher, but, you know, guy's a winner. Sean Payton is a winner, you know. I love Mike Vrabel at Tennessee. I was a Mike Vrabel fan when he was playing linebacker for New England.
Yeah.
And look at Belichick. I mean, if I were shot, instead of hip hopping to New York, I'd stop in Boston, get a hold of Belichick. Y'all go out and have some lobsters and some beer, and say, hey, Bill, I need a quarterback. What makes a good quarterback? What makes a good head coach? What makes a good coordinator? And Shad, if you're listening, take down notes because this man knows what he's doing. There are some coaches out there that would love to come to Jacksonville. Good, really, really fine young players. I mean, come on. Lawrence and Robinson themselves can win some games, but they can't do it without a good big plan. So, Shad, you're going to have to go back to the drawing board, and I think you better do it by yourself. I don't think you need to listen to anyone else or talk to anyone else. Just do the right deal.
You know, and it says something. A billionaire, doesn't matter how much money you have or your status, we all can make bad decisions in who we choose to date. So I don't feel bad about my exes now because Shad Khan paid his ex $1 million, and Lord knows I didn't. So, but we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we will hop into the bowl season. PJ, I got to leave you first with some good stuff before the fast break. The poll came out, and we put out a poll. We put out a lot of polls with PJ on Twitter at CallDT, CALLDT. I know I said poll, and Urban Meyer got really excited, but it's not that kind of poll. So the polls that we have out today, one of them just came back to us. Do you like the Billy Napier hire as head football coach for the Florida Gators? You have spoken. I gave you a week. I started it last week when PJ and I were live, and I continued it all the way through. The polls came in, PJ. Bunch of people voted, got a healthy amount of votes that came in, and 94% of the people said that they're excited for Billy Napier in Florida. So I wanted to give you some good news in the state of Florida. And with your Gators, 94% of the fan base that reached out to me said, great hire, let's get it done. So, good stuff.
Great job. He just signed a good class, not too many kids, but he signed a number one safety in the country. He stole him away from Georgia, which is good to hear. It's a small class, but he's not done either. So he knows what he needs to fill.
And coming from Papa Joe, PJ with us all the way through today. Typically 9 to 10. We're going 9 to 11. Next up, 43 bowl games. Conversation on each bowl game and prediction on each bowl game. You didn't think that anywhere in the world was going to talk about all 43 bowls? Well, we are. We're going to break them down. Everybody that's involved. The bowl game bonanza happens next on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with predictions on every game and conversation on every team. And then we get into Dino Babers, who of the 43 bowls is not going to one of them. Not even the Cheez-It Bowl or the Tony Tiger Bowl. So, we'll talk about Syracuse at the end of the show. And smack dab in the middle of a questionable coach and a questionable coach, we're going to do every single bowl game. So isn't it ironic how the two coaches we're talking about don't go to the postseason, and in the middle of our conversation, we're talking about postseason? So, it's funny how the two pieces of bread don't make sense with the sandwich, but we'll talk about it right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're watching, or where you're listening live. You're watching live on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/live-now-dt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're connecting with the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We thank you and we appreciate it. And, of course, you can search the archives of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Podbean, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and YouTube to get all of our shows that jump right into the archive. Thousands of shows on YouTube, thousands of shows on Podbean, and so on and so forth to iHeart, to iTunes, and on and on and on. You see the shows uploading all the time and consistently. You don't want to miss anything, and you got to keep listening as we continue to recharge and replenish. So a lot of great stuff going on, and we thank you so much for listening to over 1,500 shows in the archive by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a proud thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Cubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, where PJ and I can enjoy the same kettle corn from different states, because you can order anywhere in the United States at Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com. Avicoli's, Progressive Dental, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Honda City of Liverpool, Millhouse Market, Lemoyne, PB&J's Lunchbox, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. So a lot of great places to go to in our community, and we thank you so much for everybody that supports them. You can find out more information on all of them by going to wakeupcalldt.com and clicking on any one of their logos. So, with that being said, we spoke about the Jaguars and the Urban Saga. Now we're jumping into 43 bowl games with Papa Joe, and I'm excited to do it. And I want to let people know, as we talk about Dino Babers, talk about Syracuse and this and that, again, I want to be clear about this. This is not a witch hunt. This is not negativity. This is not personal attacking. This is me saying Dino could be Joe Smith, Bob Stevens. I'm just making up names. Dino could literally be anybody. When you don't recruit locally, you don't allow media in practice, you don't allow your assistant coaches to talk to the community, you don't keep the same staff from year to year because they leave or they're fired or both. You got more people in the transfer portal than anybody else in the ACC, including 4 teams that changed their head coach. On top of all of that, you don't talk to the alumni and you don't welcome them back in. It's fire on fire on fire on fire. And I've been trying to help Dino put these fires out, and there's more that are just starting. So all I'm saying is, Dino could be anybody in the world. If you don't recruit locally, you don't do anything with the community, you don't look like you care about the community, you don't try to build bridges, you don't go to their games, you don't talk to the alumni, you're blowing yourself up before you even get out there. So I just want to be clear on this show. I can't speak for any other show or any other broadcast, but on this show, it is about protecting, building, supporting, and progressing Syracuse, the community, and everything within that community. That is what I care about. If you stand in my way of my city and my community excelling, I'm going to say something. Doesn't mean I don't respect you. Doesn't mean I don't appreciate you. It means that my hometown and where I'm from means the world to me. And nobody is going to take that from me or from us. That's how I feel.
Lily agrees, too.
Yeah, and Lily's like, Daddy, you tell him. So, with that being said, let's jump in before we get into the Dino Babers conversation. Let's jump in here in hour number 2 with Papa Joe inside the Cafe Cubal studios. And Cafe Cubal, really quick here, I want to let you all know, you can find them on 3501 James Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street in Syracuse, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius in the giant behemoth of a brown stripe building. And you can find them at their drive-through and indoor location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. And Cafe Cubal is proudly now serving their coffee with the amazing menu at PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. So make sure you head out there as well. So, now I do want to check this really quick here before we jump in this. Greg said, I was going to ask how Wasabi got to sponsor a bowl game. I got my answer. LOL, kinda how does Big Avocado get ads for the Super Bowl? You know, and that's the thing, man. If you got the money, you can call it whatever you want to call it. And we're about to get into some of these weird names for the bowls. And PJ, we're going to start things off. 43 bowl games. There is no show on this planet that I know of that's going to go 43 bowl deep. But we are, and here we go. PJ and I running the gamut in bowl game bonanza The bowl games officially start tomorrow, December 17th, and the day before, the eve before, Papa Joe and I are going to bring you through every single game, every team, and we're going to give you a prediction. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to get real. PUBG New Mexico Bowl is the first one we'll do. It's Saturday, December 18th on ESPN at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be played at Dream Style Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The teams, UTEP and Fresno State. A little bit of background is that Kalen DeBoer left UTEP for Washington, so will not be there for the game. And on the other side of it, quarterback Jake Hayner could have left Fresno State for Washington and decided to stay. So you got a coach on one side in UTEP that left the team for Washington, and you have a quarterback who could have left Fresno State for Washington but decided to stay. The line is 11.5 in favor of Fresno State, PJ. What are your thoughts?
Well, Fresno State is a really, really good offensive team, so I'm looking for them to really jump out for early lead and hang in there. I'm glad that this Hayner kid is coming back, so maybe we'll be able to get a chance to see him, because I don't get to see Fresno State or UTEP. What the hell does PUBG stand for?
Well, and that's the thing that I wanted to address here, is that these companies can do whatever they want. So PUBG is, as I'm looking at it right now, it is a, oh, is this for real? Really? It's a video game thing? So PUBG looks like it's a video game company. Let me see here. Oh, let's see here. Crunchbase Investor Profile and online game development. It's an online game developer is what it is.
Well, I like Fresno State anyway.
So the online game developer, who would have thought that a video game could get that much? But here we go. So Bowl Game Bonanza is here. We're predicting every one of the 43 bowl games. And we're going to start things off with the PUBG New Mexico Bowl here that we're talking about. And we're going to go, PJ is going with Fresno State over UTEP, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. So let me bring this up here. So let's see here. PUBG New Mexico Bowl. I want to make sure that we get these out as we go. So PJ and I select Fresno State to go to this, or to win this bowl game over UTEP. The next one that we have, PJ, is being played in the Bahamas, and it's called the Bahamas Bowl. Finally, a bowl that makes sense. Hey, we're going to be called the Bahamas Bowl. Where are you guys playing? New Mexico? No, they're playing in the Bahamas. Friday, December 17th. It's the first bowl game of the season. ESPN at noon, Thomas Robinson Stadium, Nassau, Bahamas, and Middle Tennessee. How about this? Let me just paint a picture about how small the world is and how cool it is. Scott Schaefer gets fired from Syracuse, and he goes on to Middle Tennessee. He becomes a defensive coordinator, which is a post he held for Syracuse before he was the head coach for 3 years. He goes and becomes Middle Tennessee's defensive coordinator. He comes back to Syracuse, beats Syracuse's behind, and then moves on to go to Middle Tennessee and goes back to being a defensive coordinator, goes back to being defensive coordinator, beats Syracuse in the Dome, and now, as a member of the Middle Tennessee State team, guess what he gets to do for an early Christmas gift for him and his family? Oh, no big deal. Scott Schaefer gets to go to the Bahamas. So, as Syracuse is doing nothing, sitting there twiddling their thumbs, Scott Schaefer gets to go to the Bahamas and enjoy his life. So, shout out to Scott. Actually, I want to make sure here. Let me make sure that I'm doing this the right way here. Scott might not be out there anymore. So, I thought he was out there. Let's see here. Offensive coordinator. Oh, yeah, he is. He's still there. Just want to make sure. I wasn't giving fake news. Totally fake. So, Scott Schaefer is going to the Bahamas. How about that, PJ? You get fired from Syracuse, you go to Middle Tennessee, you beat your whole old team's butt in the dome of the place that didn't appreciate you, and now you get to go to the Bahamas to celebrate a vacation in the middle of December. Toledo, though, has the 10.5 line on this one, and Middle Tennessee with Scott Schaefer, their defense will take on Toledo's explosive offense. What do you think?
Certainly Middle Tennessee has the best defense. Probably Toledo's going to see this year, but I always like an offensive team, especially in the bowl. They always come up maybe with a couple freaky players. So I think Toledo probably wins this game easy.
You know, and so you're going with Toledo in this matchup to win this game. So we have in the Bahamas Bowl. For me, you know, again, this is defense versus offense. And so I'm excited. I like it. PJ is going to take Toledo. I think Toledo is more than capable. But you know what? I'm going to ride with someone that I respect. Listen, it's not that I don't respect Toledo, but this man cannot be underestimated. He cannot be understated. And it was a mistake to let him go as soon as they did. I'm rocking with Scott Schaefer. Enjoy the Bahamas, buddy. You got fired from Syracuse. You beat them, and then you got to go on vacation. So enjoy it. Have a good time. You deserve it. I love you, and I love the family. I'm going with Middle Tennessee in this matchup. Here's one for you, PJ. The Cricket Celebration Bowl. I can do a lot of impressions, but I don't know if I can do a cricket. But the Cricket Celebration Bowl, Saturday, December 18th, on ABC at noon. Oh, just to let you know, the Bahamas Bowl is on ESPN at noon as well. I think I said it, but just to let you know. The Cricket Celebration Bowl, Saturday, December 18th, on ABC at noon, played at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where I've been a couple times, in Atlanta, Georgia, where South Carolina State and Jackson State play. This is where FCS teams get to advance. And I believe the NCAA changed a rule this year so that FCS teams could play in this game. So Deion Sanders, prime time, will be coaching his Jackson State Tigers in a bowl game on ABC at noon. What are your thoughts?
Prime is doing a good job at Jackson State. He's actually recruiting some really, really good players over there. And frankly, he recruited one yesterday that I think one of the best defensive backs or defensive linemen. Anyway, the guy flipped. He flipped him from Florida State, of all people, to Jackson State. Now, if you're a high school player, I'm not sure that's one of the best decisions you can make. But this kid wants to go to Jackson State because of prime time. But this won't be a competitive game either. Jackson State should be ready to roll.
Yeah, I got Jackson State in this one. Let's just say something. You know, there was the hope and the notion when I talked to my boy Thomas Snacks, who went to Jackson State and was a student manager, and they let him play in one of the games, and he hit a big-time three from pretty much half court. I spoke with him about what do we need to do, and he said, we have to take these HBCUs, and we got to get kids to go there. That's how you change everything with the HBCUs, is you get those 5-star, 4-star athletes, you get those strong athletes to change and go to those teams. And I said, do you believe it can be done? He said, I do. And when he said that, I think a lot of people thought it was a pipe dream. And right after he said it, a 5-star athlete picked Howard. And now you got a 5-star athlete picking Jackson State, Thomas Snacks' alma mater. So it is happening. It is working. And if this is what Primetime was trying to do by making that decision, it's definitely working. So shout out to Primetime and shout out to Jackson State. PJ and I are both picking you. And I'm going to be watching this game because I love Primetime, because I'm a Cowboy fan. Underneath Jaguars, Cowboys. I know some people get angry, but that's how I feel. Here you go, PJ. This one sounds like a newspaper. The fourth bowl that we're going to do here, the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl. Friday, December 24th, the only game that will be played on Christmas Eve on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's played at the Clarence T.C. Ching Complex in Honolulu, Hawaii, and it will feature Hawaii and Memphis. Memphis, a team I know very well. Hawaii, a team that gets to play in paradise all the time. There's nothing like losing and then living in Hawaii. Oh man, we're 0-12. I guess I'll go to the beach and roast a pig and have a luau. So, Memphis has the line here, -7. What are your thoughts on Memphis and Hawaii taking on Christmas Eve?
Well, these are two highly explosive offensive teams. The over-under is almost 60 points, and I tell you, it's going to be more than that. I would think that it's probably going to be 70 points. So look for a really entertaining game. Probably, I think I'm more familiar with Memphis than Hawaii, so it still will be an offensive game, but I like Memphis.
Yeah, I'm picking Memphis in this one. And for those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube, we have the bowl game logos attacking your screen right now. There's so many of them. I don't know how. It's like a swarm. I don't know how we can get them all on screen, but somehow, some way we did. I can't take credit for this graphic, so I want to thank the people that put this together and put all these bulls on here so that I can show you a very easy picture here of the graphic. So I appreciate the people that put the work in to do this. I give respect where respect is deserved. I'm going to pick Memphis as well. Ryan Silverfield and the Tigers, got to go with them in this one. Hawaii is a team that usually makes bowl games, but they also struggle. So it's a tough one for me to pick them in this one. Fifth bowl that we have, the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. So where Florida State was supposed to play, I think recently here they did. Another team in Florida is playing in this one, and that's Miami. Not Manny Diaz's Miami, not Mario Cristobal's Miami, kind of like in the middle Miami, I think it is. Friday, December 31st on my dad's birthday, on New Year's Eve. CBS at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Sun Bowl Stadium in El Paso, Texas. Miami, who's all about that drama, it's like Real Housewives of Miami more than it's even a football team, versus Washington State. Both of these teams don't have their head coach from this past season. It's the battle of the two coaches that reminds you that coaches, even if they leave a program or get fired or whatever it is, unless it's something like they broke a law, coaches should have, let me put it to you like this. Fired, I guess, is a different thing because you're trying to move on. But if a coach decides to leave, it should be written in a contract that not only is there a buyout, but if a coach decides to leave a team and there's a bowl game, they have to stay through the bowl for continuity. I can't stand when coaches don't stay for bowl games because it happened in Memphis with Mike Norvell a couple years ago, and they went up against Penn State. They fought their butts off to have this huge bowl game, this huge opportunity, and you don't have your head coach, and they don't win the game. And I think with him, they would have had a fighting chance, if not won that game. I can't stand when coaches leave and they don't coach their bowl games. Neither Miami or Washington State will have their head coach that they had this past season. And I understand Manny Diaz was fired, but I don't like the situation. I can't stand two vacancies sitting there while we figure out what the future is going to hold, whatever. And it's going to be more of a conversation about Mario Cristobal than it is going to be about anything else. And that pisses me off, and it should piss the players off. Miami has a 2.5 edge on this one. What are your thoughts, PJ?
Waiting for Mario Cristobal, they're going to be waiting a little while, and you don't win the game when Mario's not there. However, this is a pick-em game. This is a really close game. I like Miami mainly because I'm familiar with them, even though I thought Manny Diaz did a good job there, but he didn't win enough. It's just like Dan Mullen. How can these guys lose and have a good record, and they don't stay as football coaches? It's disturbing to me that this trend is out there. Now, Dan Mullen, of course, is off in the right field somewhere. Who knows? Manny Diaz is probably going to get a job today. But I think the teams, if you compare the teams, I think that Miami comes out on top.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Miami in this one. I don't know who has the turnover chain because I think Manny Diaz came up with it, and now he's not your defensive coordinator and he's not your head coach. So I don't even think – so I think in memory of him and just to show the Miami brass that they don't appreciate how they treated Manny, I think they should not only rock a turnover chain, but I think the chain should have his name on it. That's just me. I'm picking Miami in this one. And Manny, you're always welcome on my show. And shout out to being a coordinator at Penn State. Can't wait to see you be successful. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to pay a lot more attention to Penn State now that Manny Diaz is there. The Valero, what'd you say? Sorry. What'd you say, PJ?
I said, so will I. I'll pay attention to Penn State too, which I don't normally because they're Big Ten football. But Manny Diaz is a first-class guy and a first-class coach. He did not deserve the way he was being treated at Miami. Terrible situation. Terrible. And I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Go ahead.
No, it's been horrible. So, with that being said, we're picking Miami. We're 5 bowls into our bowl game bonanza, picking every single bowl game with Papa Joe here. So thank you for tuning into the show. We wanted to give you more bowl content than you could ever imagine, and I look forward to doing that with you. So with that being said, every single of one of the 43, we now head to number 6. We got a long road to hoe. The Valero Alamo Bowl. This bowl will be played in the middle of the week at a weird time. Wednesday, December 29th on ESPN at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. How about this one? We don't know who this coach is. Oh, pardon me. I messed up in the last one. Washington State does have their coach. That was my mistake. I was a game ahead. Manny Diaz was fired in Miami. That's the thing. Let me apologize to Washington State. Their coach is still there. I am sorry. I did not mean that. I went a game ahead. The Valero Alamo Bowl, that's the one I'm talking about. Oklahoma doesn't have Lincoln Riley anymore. He's at USC. And Oregon doesn't have Mario Cristobal anymore. He's at Miami. So this is the battle of two teams that don't have their head coach anymore. One left, both of them left for other jobs. So Oklahoma and Oregon, which to some people, this could have been a New Year's Six bowl game. To some people, this could have been a college football playoff game at some point this season. But instead, it's played in the middle of the week, at the end of December, at a weird time, late at night. Oklahoma and Oregon, not Lincoln Riley and not Mario Cristobal. Oklahoma has a 4.5 point favor in this one, and the over-under is 61.5 points. What are your thoughts, PJ?
Well, this is really the very first really good bowl game to watch. Both of these teams are high-powered. Unfortunately, they've lost their coaches too. But these kids are quality 5- and 4-star kids. I look for this to be a competitive game. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. That's for sure. I like Oklahoma in it.
Yeah, Oklahoma versus Oregon. This is an interesting one for me, and I definitely think that it could go either way. And ultimately, I got to go with the one that I'm feeling. So this is a very tough one for me to pick, but I am going to pick Oregon in this matchup. So it's the first one that PJ and I are going opposite on. He picks Oklahoma. I pick Oregon in the Valero Alamo Bowl. And next up on the docket, our 7th bowl here, the Tropicana Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. This is a very long name, and at the same time, how many smoothies do you have to sell to afford a bowl game is my real question. Tuesday, December 21st, ESPN, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas, UTSA against San Diego State, two teams that are good and don't get enough respect. Very excited for this one. UTSA almost had an undefeated season this season. They took their head coach, Jeff Traylor, and gave him an extension, made sure that nobody else was going to be poaching him. I had the opportunity to speak to the head of their athletic department, and I am so honored, and I'm going to be sharing that on all of my podcasting platforms very soon, so you can hear that timeless classic. UTSA and San Diego State. UTSA is a favorite by just a couple, 2.5. The over-under is almost 50 points. What do you have, PJ?
Well, the UTSA was in the polls for a while, and I got a chance to look at them a little bit. Good team. Again, this is going to be a really close game too. It's really a pick-up game too. But I think based on the experience they've had this year being in a poll, I think I like UTSA. Yeah,
I'm going to go with UTSA. I'm happy they're going to be joining the American Athletic Conference within the next couple of years. And UTSA, for me, they're a team that didn't get respect. They deserve respect. And I am so happy that they have the opportunity to be here. And I am. I'm so excited to see the Roadrunners in the American Athletic Conference. And I'm really excited to see them here. So, and thank you, Greg. Greg said it was a great interview that I did with Lisa, so thank you. I appreciate that. So with that being said, I'm going with UTSA, but I respect San Diego State. Here's one that'll throw you off, PJ, and make you confused. We just said that we were doing the Tropicana Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. The next bowl we're talking about, the Frisco Bowl Classic. So there's a Frisco Bowl and a Frisco Bowl Classic. This one's being played on Thursday, December 23rd on ESPN at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is played at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. So Frisco's got both of these things in the same place. Miami University of Ohio versus North Texas, another team that's going to be joining the American Athletic Conference in the not-too-distant future as a full member, including football. And Ren Baker, the head of their athletic department, will be joining the show this next week. So coming up this week, you're going to hear from Ren Baker in North Texas. What are your thoughts on Miami of Ohio in North Texas?
Well, I don't get to see any of these teams at all. I'm not familiar with them at all. But it's a pick'em game, very, very close game. You know what? I'm just going to go with Miami University because I'm familiar with them a little bit more than North Texas. I think it's going to be a rather boring game, but let's see.
I'm going with North Texas in this one. I'm going with the Mean Green, and I'm trusting in them to move forward. In the story about how they have a bird as their logo, but they're called the Mean Green, is really an incredible story, and we're going to break it down with Ren Baker and why they got their name, the Mean Green. So I'm definitely looking forward to sharing that with you next week. Next game up, the Radiance Technologics Independence Bowl. I believe this game has had different sponsors, so we've gone back and forth of what this looks like as far as the name. Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Yet again, another team that's joining the American and a team that could have joined the American. UAB, BYU. UAB canceled their football program, then came back and went to a bowl game. Maybe Syracuse. Maybe that's the way to look at it. Hey, let's not play this year. We'll come back and be good again. I don't want to have a year without football, though, so don't do that. UAB, BYU. UAB, crazy story, awesome story, going to be joining the American Athletic. BYU, independent, that's going to be joining the Big 12, where some of the American teams are going. So they're connected, but they're not, and they could have ended up being conference foes, but now they're going to different conferences. Saturday, December 18th, ABC at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The irony that they could have played in the same conference, and now we get to see them together. Independence Stadium in Shreveport, Louisiana. I look at it and I say L.A. Shreveport, Louisiana. Radiance Technologics Independence Bowl. PJ, what do you have? UAB or BYU? And some people believe that BYU should have been in a New Year's Six Bowl and not in this game.
True. BYU was in the national championship hunt there for the longest time. I think they're a much better team than UAB. Although UAB may surprise here, but I think BYU's got too much firepower here. I think that they win going easy, too.
Yeah, I mean, this one BYU is just a thorn in the side of so many people. They know how to play. They know how to win. This team is a strong team, changed their coach, and they continue to be a strong team. They're one of those teams that has found relative consistency even when staff changes happen. So it's something that we haven't seen in every place, and it's something to commend. I'm picking BYU in this game, despite the fact that I really do respect UAB and what they've done. Next one up here, the Lending Tree Bowl. Sounds like the tree at Christmas that you take the things off to give gifts to people. The Lending Tree Bowl, Saturday, December 18th, ESPN at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Played at the Ladd Peebles Stadium in Mobile, Alabama. Liberty and Eastern Michigan. Liberty, Hugh Freeze just got an extension. Liberty, a team that almost beat Syracuse this year, spanked them last year for their first ever ACC win in history. And Eastern Michigan, who has a former Syracuse assistant coach in their defensive backs coach, Fred Reed, who's been with Eastern Michigan since being let go as part of Schaefer's staff all those years ago. I like Eastern Michigan. I like the continuity of Fred Reed. And I also really like Liberty. What do you got, PJ?
You know, I like Eastern Michigan has offense that usually plays tough. I'm going to go with Eastern Michigan. I'm going against the grain here because I know Liberty's going to be favorite, but I like Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, and this one for me is a difficult one to pick, and for the Lending Tree Bowl. And so, I mean, like I said, I respect both of them. I really do. And it's hard for me to make a pick, but I'm going to have to go with the team that I've seen firsthand take it to some really good teams. And I know they didn't have as good of a season as they had last year, but I got to go with Liberty in this one. And hopefully, Fred Reed can forgive me. The Mercari Texas Bowl. Tuesday, January 4th on ESPN at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. A stadium that I've been to multiple times and I brought my dad to. They will play Kansas State going up against LSU. My, how the teams have fallen. Brian Kelly not going to be there yet. Coach O, they wanted to get rid of his booty. Kansas State's out there doing their thing. So, Kansas State of the Big 12 and LSU bringing in Brian Kelly. this is where we are right now. Interim head coach Brad Davis is taking over LSU for the game. What are your thoughts?
Well, a typical team that's bailing players out left and right because of the coaching change. LSU's lost a lot of players, and they've lost a lot of players to beat, too, just like with Florida. Once the announcement of Dan Bayern was made, these kids booked out left and right. I still think there's enough talent left to win, so I'm going LSU.
I think LSU right now is a dumpster fire, and I don't like what they did to Coach O. I'm picking Kansas State. So I think Kansas State's going to take advantage of the fact that LSU, I think they hurt themselves more than they helped themselves by getting rid of Coach O right now. So I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it, and that's just how I feel. Before we take a step aside, we'll do our next one, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Saturday, December 18th on ESPN at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Played between Marshall, and Louisiana. Louisiana, where Billy Napier used to be before he took the job to be the head coach at Florida. So offensive coordinator Michael Desormeaux, I believe. Sorry if I got that wrong. He is going to be taking over the team for Louisiana, and Marshall is going to be doing their thing under Doc Holliday, which I love his name. One of the coolest names in the world. If I could have a name in a movie and they called me Doc Holliday, I'd be okay with that. So, Marshall, Louisiana, what do you got?
I don't think Marshall shows up in this game. I think that I'm very happy to see Louisiana play well, and I know they've lost Billy Napier. I'm very happy that Billy Napier's in Florida. Thank you. So I think that he's left enough moving parts for them to win this game. I like Louisiana, easy.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing for me is, he left this team having them ranked in the top 25, and he left this team, like you said, with positive on the roster. So I'm going to pick Louisiana in this game as well for the New Orleans Bowl. With that being said, PJ and I are going to take a step aside for a very quick, fast break. When we come back, we'll be back at it, continuing our bowl game bonanza, predicting every single bowl game in America this season, and even outside of America, like the Bahamas. So we'll talk about all of that, every bowl game right here on your screen, and going to be on the air as well, as PJ and I continue our predictions and round out today's show by speaking on Dino Babers and National Signing Day 2022, Part 1. That's all coming up here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both.
It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Well, welcome back here to Wake Up Call on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening live, you're watching live on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/live@nowdt, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So appreciate it, and thank you for being a part of the broadcast every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. Papa Joe just said something to me off the air, and I'm thinking to myself, PJ, don't wish bad upon this team. So PJ's sitting here saying, maybe Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss to come to the Jaguars, and I'm sitting here going, no, I don't want to get rid of drama for more drama. I like the Lane train, but I like to watch it from far away, because if it catches on fire, I know it's not going to bang into my house. That's how I look at it. So, PJ and I, plenty of stuff to talk about. We're in the bowl game bonanza. We're bringing you every single bowl game inside of the Cafe Kubal studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, letting you know exactly who we're picking in each one of these bowl games, giving you full coverage of all 43. Next up, PJ, the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, played on Thursday, December 30th, on ESPN at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 for the people out on the West Coast, at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Wisconsin will play Arizona State. What are your thoughts?
My bros are going to be looking at me for this one. Wisconsin's got one of the best defensive teams in the country, other than Georgia, who got beat by Alabama, who was also a good defensive team. Anyway, I like Wisconsin in this game. This is the third game that I'm going to be watching of the bowl game. This will be a good one.
Yeah, Wisconsin and Arizona State. The SRS.
What the hell does SRS mean?
The SRS Distribution. It sounds like a facility that just lets you pick up stuff. So the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. PJ and I, Washington, going up against Arizona State, and PJ and I are both picking, or pardon me, not Washington, Wisconsin. Wisconsin going up against Arizona State. We're both picking Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a line of -7, and the over-under is 42.5 in this matchup in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. Next one up sounds like the bowling alley down the street. Hey, babe, you want to go to the Quick Lane Bowl? It's Midnight Bowl. It's black light bowling, baby, at midnight. I think they should do that. I think they should shut off all the lights for this game and make them all play in the black light and have them wear black light jerseys so they glow on the field, because that's what this sounds like. Quick Lane Bowl sounds like the place that I bring my honey to see how good she is at knocking them pins down. Monday, December 27th on ESPN at 11 o'clock in the morning. At Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, Nevada will take on Western Michigan, and my dude, Tim Lester, the head coach over there. What's up, PJ? Excited about this one. So Nevada head coach Jay Norvell is off to Colorado State, so they're not going to have their coach. What do you think about this?
Well, Nevada's quarterback, Carson Strong, looks like he's the real deal, too. I don't look for him to play in this game. I like Western Michigan.
Yeah, I'm going with my man Tim Lester. Got to ride with Lester on this one. The Quick Lane Bowl. We are going to both be picking. PJ and I pick Western Michigan and them Broncos. Next game up, the Cheez-It Bowl. Ridiculous. We go from a bowling alley that's playing in the morning to the Cheez-It Bowl. Cheez-It, maybe the Cheez-Its are available in the vending machine at Quick Lanes. So the Cheez-It Bowl, Wednesday, December 29th, ESPN, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time, played at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. And guess who's playing in this one? Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Clemson and Iowa State. At one point, Iowa State was a top 25 team. At one point, Clemson was considered one of the best teams in the country. Now they get to play in the Cheez-It Bowl. What are your thoughts, PJ?
This is going to be another game I'm going to be watching. Iowa State is much, much, much better than I ever thought they would be this year. However, I think Clemson's in the best conference other than the SEC. I look for even though the second coming of Tua isn't do the best job, I still think Clemson wins the game.
Yeah, I think that as the season goes on, Dabo plays his best ball, and I think that you're going to have to be very concerned about what that can mean for the future. Because if they struggled this year, I would look for them to improve next year. And I don't see Dabo putting together bad season, and this wasn't a bad season. It just wasn't a great one. But I think that time in the maturation process, maybe DJ Uiagalelei needed more time, and the rest of the guys out there, they've had it. So I don't see them failing. I see them succeeding under Dabo. Even though Brent Venables, the highest paid coordinator of maybe all time, finally left Clemson to take over the job at Oklahoma. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do as head coach. Next game up. Go ahead.
I hope you say the second coming of Tua because I can't pronounce the kid's name. So you'll have to say it.
DJ Uiagalelei.
Oh, yeah, right.
I told you, just call him DJ. So the next one up here, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Once again, folks, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. It sounds like they get to fight with weapons in this one. This game, Wednesday, December 22nd, ESPN, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, at the Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. Missouri plays up against Army. Your thoughts, PJ?
Well, I've always liked to watch Army, Navy play football because they run the ball from the old wing T situations. It's fun to watch, and the Army-Navy game is certainly one of the classics that everyone should watch every year if they're into college football. I like Army in this game.
Yeah, I'm picking Army in this one. We got a team that struggles to stop the run, and Army who does their thing the way that they do. How about this? Army beat Houston. Army beat Houston in the Armed Forces Bowl 70-14. How about that? So I'm picking Army in this one. Next game up, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I know Myrtle Beach. I've been down to Myrtle Beach. I've been to Memphis. But the Myrtle Beach Bowl, that's an inside joke. I know that Myrtle Beach is not near Memphis. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, Monday, December 20th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you that are going to be watching at work, at Brooks Stadium in Conway, South Carolina, Tulsa will take on Old Dominion. Old Dominion is the name of a country band. It's also the name of a football team. And Tulsa has a head coach that I respect very much in my guy, Philip Montgomery. So, PJ, what do you got for the Myrtle Beach Bowl?
Old Dominion's coming in with a 5-game winning streak. May have enough to beat this Tulsa team. I don't think so. I like Tulsa.
Yeah, I'm going with Tulsa and Philip Montgomery. Don't underestimate them. Even the games that they've lost, they've been in for years. And they were building towards something. And we saw some of that come to fruition last season when they went to their first ever AAC championship game and played Cincinnati very close, a team that's been great under Luke Fickell, especially the last 2 years. Tulsa's favored 9.5. In the last game here, Army's favored 3.5, and Iowa State's favored 1 point against Clemson, which is crazy. That's like the lowest line we've seen. Western Michigan's favored 3.5 as well, so just want to let you all know. A guaranteed rate bowl. I don't know what this means. I thought guaranteed rate, I didn't think that was a company. I thought guaranteed rate was something that you're looking for when you're trying to rent a car. So the guaranteed rate bowl is going on here, whatever that means. And it's on Tuesday, December 28th on Fox at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Chase Field, Phoenix, Arizona. Maybe that's how you get a guaranteed rate. You just stay up really late and hope to get the deals when everybody's sleeping. West Virginia against Lake Minnetonka, Minnesota. West Virginia and Minnesota. I believe one of Syracuse's former players just ended up in West Virginia. What do you think about this one, PJ?
PJ Fleck, one of the best coaches in the country, probably deserves a better job somewhere in the country. But I like him. I like Minnesota in this game.
Purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, the home state of Prince. I'm going with Minnesota, and I'm excited to see this. I'm just excited to see the guaranteed rate. I mean, it's just weird to me. Whatever. There's going to be a wake-up call bowl someday. If I want it, I'll do it. The New Era Pinstripe Bowl. I brought my dad here. I've been to two of them. The two that Syracuse were in were the two that I was at. So the New Era Pinstripe Bowl that is played at Yankee Stadium. Very excited for this game coming up here. And so let's make sure that we get that down for you here so you can get our predictions as you follow us on our live feed. The New Era Pinstripe Bowl, Wednesday, December 29th at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Mine were night games. This one's played in the middle of the day this time. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Virginia Tech, who fired Justin Fuente a year after holding a press conference on why they were keeping him. I just make that note because Syracuse had a press conference about why they're keeping Dino, and we'll see what happens after this year. And Maryland, who's changing their coach, I believe as well. Maryland let their coach go. So we're in a place right now where it's no coach versus no coach from this past season. What do you think about Virginia Tech and Maryland?
This is a terrible game. Absolutely. This is probably one of the worst games we're going to see this year. And it's a pick'em game, too, because it's so terrible. I guess I'm going to go with Virginia Tech just because of the leftover Fuente. So I'll do that.
Yeah, I can't see picking Maryland. I haven't been a fan of a lot of what they've put on the field. They blew out Syracuse, though. Remember that one. I don't want to. I'm picking Virginia Tech. Justin Fuente is a better coach than people give him credit for, and I'll stick by that because I spent a lot of time with him at Memphis. The Camellia Bowl. I believe that's a flower. So the Camellia Bowl is the next one up on the docket here, as PJ and I do every single bowl game for the 2021-2022 bowl season. Saturday, December 25th. I don't like this. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like this. I don't like games on Christmas Eve. I don't like games on Christmas Day. It's not fair to the people. Camellia Bowl, Saturday, December 25th on ESPN, and it's at 2:30 in the afternoon. You can't even friggin' open gifts and have dinner with your family if you're going to this game. It's at the Crampton Bowl. Sounds like Krampus, which is the opposite of Christmas. Krampus is the opposite of Papa Noel, a.k.a. Santa Claus, and I think playing a game on Christmas is the opposite of what should be happening. So makes sense that it's called the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. It's Ball State versus Georgia State. I know PJ covers both of these teams closely and is an avid watcher of them. PJ, what are your thoughts?
No, I don't have a clue. And again, this is another terrible game. I guess offense is the name of this game. So there's a note here that I see that this game is played before Green Bay plays Cleveland in NFL. So you know what I'm going to be doing after 1 hour. I probably won't even watch the first hour. Terrible game, but I like Georgia State.
Yeah, I like Georgia State in this one. Georgia State and Georgia Southern.
Where do they get these teams to play? I mean, a lot of these teams are not very good.
Yeah, but I want
a bowl because they're a 500 team. I don't get it.
But I want to tell you this, and I want to make this clear with you, to bang the point home that we're going to make at the end of the show even more. As bad as these teams may be, and as confusing as it is, when you're like, who are these teams? And I don't even know who they are. I didn't even know that, this team existed or whatever. I'm going to make a statement that people aren't going to like, but it's a true statement. No matter what you think of Ball State or Georgia State, if you think anything at all, they're better than Syracuse.
Oh, that's terrible, Daniel. Oh, that's awful. Oh, how could you say that? Oh, Daniel.
They're better than Syracuse.
Oh, geez.
The Union, the Krampus Bowl, baby. The Union, okay, let's get into the next one here. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. This sounds like somebody who's got a pretty mouth. When I hear Gasparilla, I think about somebody who married their sister. I can't make it any more specific than that. It sounds like a backwoods thing. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. And it's no offense to Gasparilla. It's just, to me, when I hear it, it sounds like you got a pretty mouth. That's what it sounds like. Thursday, December 23rd, ESPN at 7 p.m., Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. And this, UCF, under former AD Danny White, allegedly refused to play Florida because Florida wanted a 2-1, 2 at home and 1 in UCF, and UCF wanted it to be even. The new AD said yes to the Florida non-conference contest in the Battle of Florida, and that was supposed to happen down the road. Well, guess what? We get to see an early preview of what that could look like. However, we don't get to see it with Dan Mullen, but we do get to see it with UCF's Gus Malzahn, who used to play Florida in the SEC when he was Auburn's coach. Florida is favored by 6.5, and I don't know why. They don't have their head coach. They didn't have a good season, and they went toe-to-toe with Samford and almost lost the game. UCF has Gus Malzahn. These two teams that are supposed to play in the state of Florida 3 times coming up get a 4th matchup in the Gasparilla Bowl. What do you have, PJ?
Well, Gus Malzahn certainly is a good coach, and he's an offensive-minded coach. But even though Florida's been down this year, and 6-6 record is terrible for this team, their defense is much, much better than anyone at UCF has faced. Emory Jones, who I've touted all of this year at Florida, is leaving the program and taking the transfer portal out. But I believe he's going to be a graduate transfer, so that's not so bad. They leave the reins to the Cadillac to Anthony Richardson, who's a big, tall, tough quarterback. Looks like he's going to be around for 3 years now in Florida. So Billy Napier's going to have a good offense behind him and a tough defense for UCF to score on. So this one shouldn't be close, really, Florida.
PJ, you're picking Florida, but Florida changed their coach, and I have faith in what the future is going to hold for UCF under Gus Malzahn. I'm picking UCF. And the bounce house, baby. Let's go. So next one, how about, okay, we talked about crazy names. We talked about some strange things. I'm going to say this one to PJ, and I think he's going to fall off his chair, so hold on to the table. The Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. How do you ticket? I ticket smarter. So the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl on Tuesday, December 28th on ESPN at noon Eastern Time at the Protective Stadium at Birmingham. That sounds like a place you go if you were like, I don't even want to get there. So the Protective Stadium, Birmingham, Alabama. I got jokes to tell. Houston and Auburn playing up against each other in the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. Lord, I don't, it's just crazy. What are your thoughts on this one, PJ?
Bo Nix leaving the Auburn program certainly hurts them now. I think he's going to be he's in the portal. I don't think he's a graduate transfer yet. Houston's awful. I don't know how they even got in this bowl, but Auburn should win this game easy.
Houston put up a fight against Cincinnati for a little bit. And at the game I was at the AAC championship game down at Nippert Stadium, which was fantastic. It was a really good game. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it very much. And I knew Houston was going to give them something because that's just who Houston is. But Cincinnati took care of business, and I think another team will take care of business over Houston. Again, I'm picking Auburn, who's only -3 in this one. And next game up, the Military Bowl presented by Peraton, which sounds like a dinosaur. So the Military Bowl presented by Peraton. PJ, this game is going to be on Monday, December 27th, 2:30 p.m. on ESPN at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland, where the Navy midshipmen play. It's two teams that I really like. Boston College, where my guy Steve Adazio used to be, and East Carolina, where my guy Mike Houston is putting the work in and finally turning the tide of East Carolina after a couple coaches here. Very excited for Mike Houston. I wanted to believe that this man could do it and he could get it done. I had faith in Mike Houston when he came in. I'm happy to see that faith is coming through with real, tangible awesomeness. East Carolina, BC, what do you got?
Boston College is awful. Again, I don't know how they made a bowl, but I like East Carolina here because I think they throw the ball a lot better, and I like the direction they're going in. Boston College is going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, in BC, and like it was said, Steve Adazio, you look at everything he did. He went to a bowl game every year except for one, I think 7 out of 8 years, and they fired him and now they go 6-6, and they're glorifying the current era, which makes no sense. Duke's Mayo Bowl. I don't know what the heck this means. Is this mayonnaise? I'm not sure. Is it a guy named Duke who just made a sandwich and really likes mayonnaise? I have no idea. So the Duke's Mayo Bowl is going to be North Carolina versus South Carolina. So at least they made it interesting. Thursday, December 30th, ESPN at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the ACC plays their championship game. North Carolina, and here's some irony. The Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, is where the ACC plays their championship game. North Carolina was supposed to be in that game, but they didn't show up this year. So they get to play in the stadium that people thought they were going to be in for the ACC, and now, ironically, they're going to be in against rival South Carolina. This sounds like a battle of the Civil War. North and South Carolina go at it. What do you have, PJ?
Normally, I would pick the SEC team over the ACC team, but I think North Carolina's a better team, and I saw them play a couple times this year, once against FSU, so I like North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm picking North Carolina, but I'm excited that Frank Beamer from Virginia Tech, his son, is coaching South Carolina, so big ups to him, and shout out to getting to a bowl game. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, all in caps. Serve Pro First Responder, and a shout out to all of our first responders out there that are the true heroes, fighting the real battles. Tuesday, December 28th, ESPN, oh, by the way, North Carolina's favored by 7. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl on Tuesday, December 28th on ESPN at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Shout out to the time, which is also my area code. Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Air Force made a bowl game. Shout out to Air Force. My guy Jake Moreland used to be out there. Air Force is taking on Louisville. I still think that Louisville and Scott Satterfield are not for long because he took the job. Then they found out he was talking to South Carolina. And then he wrote a letter to the community and to the fans and to the boosters. I just feel like this is not going to be a workable commodity for the long haul. But here we are. Air Force, Louisville. Air Force is favored by 1 point.
Yeah, this is a pick'em game. I like Satterfield, even though his record isn't very good at Louisville. Certainly their quarterback, Malik Cunningham, is going to be a first-round pick whenever he goes. I think just him alone makes Louisville the favorite in this game. I like Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville in this matchup, I want to say that, they're not a bad team. And they have talent. And they have Jawar Jordan Jr., who left Syracuse for Louisville. And I think, honestly, he was originally going to Louisville, then he came to Syracuse, and now he's back at Louisville via the transfer portal. So I know that Louisville has talent, and they have Malik Cunningham, and I like Malik Cunningham. I'm going to pick Louisville in this game, but shout out to Air Force and my Uncle Pat, who passed away this year, who would have been 100 years old come, I think, November it would have been, and he served in the Air Force during World War II. So big shout out to Uncle Pat. With that being said, Greg said Louisville is tough to evaluate at this point. Cut and paste that for multiple seasons. They consistently are inconsistently, it's hard to evaluate a team that's very inconsistent. This makes no sense to me. I didn't know as a talk show that you could name a bowl after yourself. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. So we can have the Dan Tortora New York Bowl? Let's do it. Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. Let's start fundraising now. GoFundMe. Saturday, December 18th, ABC at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Utah State taking on Oregon State. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. What do you think, PJ?
Well, two conferences that don't rightly play each other normally. This will be a lot of fun to watch. The over-under 67 points. So I look for Oregon State to outscore Utah State.
I'm going to pick Utah State. They're coming off of winning their first ever conference championship game. And so I'm going to lean on them to continue the winning side of things. And I'm going to pick Utah State. Big shout out to Utah. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break as we've hit our 2-hour mark, and PJ and I still have a few games to go in Syracuse to talk about. Pack it in, folks, because this show is a meaty old sandwich that you're going to take a while to have to try and get this thing. You're going to have to take some of the meat out, use it for a sandwich for another day, cut it up, and let it happen. So this is the monster colossal sandwich, the good stuff. And we'll take a step aside for a fast break here where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The thought of the hour, no matter what you think about Ball State and Georgia State, they're better than Syracuse this year. That's the thought of the hour. And boy, what a sad thought that is. No offense to those teams, just Syracuse, how the mighty have fallen. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
All I'm going to say is thank goodness I own my own company and then I don't have to buy more time out here. Because if there was any more bowl games, PJ and I would start at 9 and be here at 4 p.m. So welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So happy to be hanging out with you inside the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 208 North Townsend Street, all in Syracuse, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse. And we thank them for the miracles that they're working on with God, with all those children there at the hospital today and all their families. And a big time shout out to the location out in Manlius at 343 Fayette Street, and of course on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-thru in North Syracuse, as well as Cafe Kubal now proudly being served at PB&J's Lunchbox. We just launched a new monthly, really cool short video that we're going to do on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and that's called What's in Your Lunchbox? As you know, I ask you the question on PB&J's Lunchbox commercial every single broadcast. What's in your lunchbox? Features us taking an old lunchbox and like a vintage lunchbox, something cool, and we take the lunchbox, we pick a different one every episode, and we put something special in it, a special dish from PB&J's Lunchbox, and then we unveil what that dish is and we talk about it. So you never know what's in the lunchbox. We open it up. It's about a minute video. We talk about what's there, and then I get to try it. So this time around, you can find out what we chose for the first ever edition in episode 1, the inaugural episode of What's in Your Lunchbox. You can see that on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Let's look at this. Greg said, let's make it happen. Wake Up Call DT Bowl at the Dome. Yeah, and if it's at the Dome, we know the Dino won't go to it. And then the Wake Up Call or Salt City Bowl. I like that. So Salt City. A lot of good stuff coming up here. Let's hop into the next game. We did the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Now we have the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. PJ said, what's Barstool Sports? And I can respect that. So, you know, Barstool does things differently, and to each their own is what I'll say. The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl coming up for you on Friday, December 31st, my dad's birthday again. And it's going to be on Barstool Sports at 2 p.m. I didn't even know that they had a channel. But Barstool Sports, 2 p.m. So all these are on ESPN, Fox, CBS, ABC. This one's on Barstool Sports at Arizona Stadium in Tucson, Arizona, Central Michigan, a team I respect, and Boise State, another team I respect. So with that being said, we're back into the bowls here, giving you every single bowl game in our bowl game bonanza as Papa Joe and I predict the entire field of 43 games. PJ, what do you have for the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl?
I've always been intrigued by Boise State since they beat Auburn several years ago in the Fiesta Bowl. They've always fielded a good team. Great team, actually. More than a great. I like them. I like them this game. I think they just have too much talent for a Central Michigan team.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Boise State as well in this matchup. So PJ and I both going with a team that's like a BYU and like what UCF had been doing for years, you know, have been relevant outside of the teams that people are normally talking about. The game here, Boise State's favored by 8. Next game up, the Tex Slayer Gator Bowl, which will probably be the best game that anybody sees this season inside of the TIAA Bank field where the Jacksonville Jaguars play. So the Tex Slayer Gator Bowl, it's sad. These college games are really good, and then we don't see the really good games come from Jacksonville themselves. Friday, December 31st. This game's being played really late. People down in Florida are going to have to start drinking early, which I know is not a problem. Tex Slayer Gator Bowl, Friday, December 31st, ESPN, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, home of the Jaguars, ACC versus the SEC, Wake Forest versus Texas A&M. And here's a little history for you. This is a battle of two Atlantic Division coaches. Dave Clawson of Wake Forest used to face off against Jimbo Fisher when he was at Florida State in the Atlantic Division of the ACC. Now Jimbo is coming off of a season where they beat Alabama, and now they get Dave Clawson, who was the best coach and team in the ACC this year, before Pat Narduzzi had something to say about it. What are your thoughts?
Dave Clawson is a really good coach. I've got to follow him the last couple of years. I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten to a bigger program, but Wake Forest opened up the money pit, and he's going to stay there. Jimbo Fisher just wound up with the number one recruiting class for 2021-22, even to beat out Alabama and Georgia. It's going to be a good game. Very, very, really, really good game. Wake Forest is going to bring it. Texas is going to try to stop it. When you have offense and defense, I like offense a little bit. I really like Texas A&M, but I'm going to go with Wake Forest.
Yeah, so PJ going with Wake Forest in this one. I'm picking Texas A&M. I respect both coaches. I've spent time interviewing both coaches and being around both coaches on and off the air. So I appreciate them both. I want them both to succeed. I'd love them both to win, but they're playing against each other. So I'm going to go with Texas A&M as PJ picks Wake Forest, but I appreciate you both. Texas A&M favored by 7. The Verbo Citrus Bowl, the VRBO, which just looks like somebody hit a bunch of letters on a keyboard. The Verbo, no offense, just what it looks like. Doesn't look like a word. Verbo Citrus Bowl, Saturday, January 1st, ABC at 1 p.m., Iowa against Kentucky in the Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. And just so y'all know, Camping World Stadium has at least 3 bowls, if not 4 bowl games that they host. What are your thoughts, PJ?
You don't ordinarily get me to pick a Big Ten team over an SEC team. Kentucky just is boring, that's all. They play good defense. I like Kurt Friends at Iowa. I like Iowa in this game, even though it's a pick 'em game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Listen, to have a New Year's Six bowl, that's a good one for both of these teams. Iowa, to me, got absolutely annihilated by Michigan in the Big Ten championship, which was sad to see. I'm excited to watch this game. I want Iowa to bounce back. I respect them both. I know Kentucky is better than they used to be. Kentucky and Kansas used to be that nobody knew that they had a football team because they're so good at basketball and not good at football. But now that's changed for at least Kentucky. So I like and respect them, but I'm going to go with Iowa. The tail greeter, it sounds like when I come home and Lily sees me. The tail greeter Cure Bowl. This bowl game is going to, in Iowa, by the way, Kentucky's favored by 3. The tail greeter Cure Bowl, Friday, December 17th, ESPN 2 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time at Camping World Stadium. There you go, another game at Camping World Stadium. Coastal Carolina and Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois does some good things. Coastal Carolina almost had another undefeated season. What are your thoughts, PJ?
Good offensive versus defensive. You like these kind of games in bowls. I don't. I like Coastal Carolina. I like offense.
Yeah, I like Coastal Carolina as well. Big fan of Coastal Carolina. Been paying attention to them, keeping them on my radar ever since Austin Wilson left Syracuse and transferred there at quarterback. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl. This is one of the names that's been around forever, yet every time I see it, I can't help but get a little smile on my face. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl. It's like these potatoes are that good that they got that type of money to pay for this thing. Tuesday, December 21st, the first day of winter, ESPN at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Albertsons Stadium in Boise, Idaho. Kent State versus Wyoming. Ever since he left Syracuse as the co-offensive coordinator, he's had more success away from Dino than he had with him. And that is Sean Lewis, the head coach of Kent State, who will now take on Wyoming, the former team that had Josh Allen on it, the Buffalo Bills Buffalo Bills quarterback. And the place that Eric Dungy almost went to, if Syracuse didn't take him away, he almost went to Wyoming to fight with Josh Allen for the starting job. Your thoughts, PJ, on Kent State and Wyoming?
Again, I have to plead ignorance here. I'm not familiar with each one of these teams. I do read up a lot about Wyoming because that's where Josh Allen came from. And it looks like their offense hadn't skipped a beat, even with him not being there. So, again, offense over defense game. I like the Wyoming.
So, PJ going with Wyoming, and I will be going with Sean Lewis and Kent State. Next game that we have here, the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. Music City Bowl changes their name. I feel like every single year they change who the sponsor is here. So, Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl, Thursday, December 30th, on ESPN at 3 p.m. Eastern Time at Nissan Stadium at Nashville, Tennessee. Purdue, and Tennessee gets to play a relative home game. What do you think about this one?
Oh, I've been disappointed in Tennessee since the beginning of the year when you predicted that Pittsburgh was going to beat them. Not the same kind of Tennessee team I'm used to seeing. I like Purdue. Again, you're not going to. This is so unlike me. I mean, I'm picking a Big Ten team over an SEC team. The SEC just does not. Besides the first two teams, Alabama and Georgia, I just can't get in love with anything else. So based on that, I'm going to pick Purdue.
Yep, and I'm going to pick Purdue as well in this matchup. It's funny, this name always reminds me of my dog, Mordew. And so I want to shout out Purdue, shout out what they've done this year. They beat a Michigan State team that was ranked way too high. And I like I like them in this game more than I like what I've seen on the other side of it, and that coming from Tennessee. So Tennessee's had moments, but that's all they've had in recent history is just moments, not consistency in the positive win department. So I got to go with that. Wyoming, by the way, favored by 3 over Kent State, and Tennessee's favored by 4.5 in a game where the over-under 63. PJ and I are picking Purdue. The PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. The Fiesta Bowl has changed sponsors in the past, but PlayStation, this is a gaming company. We know they make that bread. PlayStation make money on money on money on money. This is a New Year's 6 Bowl, Saturday, January 1st, 1 p.m. on ESPN at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, as Notre Dame takes on Oklahoma State. And why Notre Dame gets this marquee game is beyond me. Again, what in the hell did they do this year? Anywho, it's Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. What do you think, PJ?
Well, I'm going to preface this by saying that Notre Dame will probably play sky high because of their new coach, 35-year-old guy. Don't know much about him, Marcus Freeman. But I'll tell you, he's going to get his ass handed to him because you think the teams that Notre Dame played fast, wait till you see Oklahoma play fast. They are scary fast. I like Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I'm picking OK State in this one too. Again, I don't know what in the heck Notre Dame. Again, historically, Notre Dame was a good team. Historically, Syracuse was a good team. So if Notre Dame's a good team because of their history, then Syracuse is in the college football playoff this year. Obviously, that's idiotic, and that's what I'm trying to make as my point. So, Notre Dame, no. Oklahoma State. Top 10, Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Last time I checked on this one, wasabi was that nasty sauce that nasty whatever it is, paste that you put on your Chinese food, you put on your sushi and whatnot. Wasabi Fenway Bowl. It was that thing that kind of looks like it's guacamole, but it's not. Wednesday, December 29th, 11 a.m. on ESPN in Fenway Park, Boston, Massachusetts. You know what they should do in this game? They should see how many quarterbacks can throw it over the big green monster. SMU versus Virginia. What do you got?
Finally, we're going to get a team, both teams, that can throw the ball and score a lot of points, and justifiably so. The over-under is 71 in this. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 90. This is going to be a hell of a game. It's a pick-em game. Both teams are going to score a lot of points, but I'll pick at SMU.
I'm going with SMU as well. Sonny Dykes just left for a team that SMU has played, which was TCU. And we saw Chad Morris leave after he finally got SMU to a bowl game. After they went through the death penalty, I think in 85 or 86, around when I was born. They went through the death penalty. The only college football team to ever serve the death penalty went through it and were never the same for over a decade. Then in 3 years, Chad Morris got them to a bowl game and left for Arkansas and got fired in less than 3 years. Now Sonny Dykes comes in, continues the success, makes them more successful than they were under Chad Morris, and he leaves for TCU. So we'll see what happens from here. But I'm going with SMU. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Lord knows I love to dunk this one all up in that Chick-fil-A sauce, honey mustard sauce, barbecue sauce, Polynesian sauce. You name it, I like it. I was here at this game. at the beginning of this year to see Cincinnati and Georgia, which we could see again if they both win. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Thursday, December 30th on ESPN at 7 p.m. Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Michigan State against Pittsburgh. PJ, what you got?
Well, it's going to be an entertaining game, too. Very entertaining. I think Kenny Pickett from Pitt's got a little bit of an advantage here, and I think he's probably going to throw for a lot of yardage. Hopefully he'll score a lot more points. This is a pick-em game, but I think I like Pitt because of that.
I like Pitt. Pat Narduzzi, been covering him since he got into Pittsburgh, and Michigan State was way overrated. I think Pitt at sometimes was underrated. I'm going with Pittsburgh after their ACC championship win. And by the way, a guy who was from CBA, my alma mater, that Dino Babers could have ridden a tricycle to from the practice facility of Syracuse, that not only didn't have much to say about this kid, but he never offered him. Then he was ACC linebacker of the week last year. Then he continued to impress this year and has gone on to become an ACC champion, winning with Pittsburgh in the ACC championship game, and was the one to pour the Gatorade on head coach Pat Narduzzi, and that's linebacker Servassier Dennis. I'm going with Central New York. I'm supporting the local kid. I'm supporting a coach I respect who actually respects my community, and I'm picking Pat Narduzzi. SMU is favored by 1.5 in their game we just talked about, and Michigan State's favored by 1.5 because everybody seems to favor the Big Ten except for people that have knowledge about football. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic is the next one up here. Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic that we have to talk about. PJ, and that is going to be part of the college football playoff Friday, December 31st on ESPN at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Played at AT&T Stadium, the home of the Cowboys in Arlington, Texas. Alabama, Cincinnati, what you got? Alabama's favored by 13.5, by the way.
This is the team for the game everyone will probably be watching. They'll be watching the first couple of line of scrimmages to see who can dominate both offense and defense. Because if you heard me say, if you control the line of scrimmage, you win the game. Cincinnati, as well as they've played this year, and as good as their coaches are, and as good as their players are, they are just asking for a monumental job just to stay in this game, let alone try to win it. I mean, Alabama is certainly much the best, and probably will prove it. I would like to see it competitive because I want to see a good football game, but I don't think it's going to happen.
PJ going with Alabama. I can understand. Alabama was somewhat underwhelming at times this year. Not as good as they had been. Cincinnati's the only undefeated team in America of 130 FBS programs. Cincinnati has been phenomenal under Luke Fickell. He stayed dedicated to them. Desmond Ridder came back to be dedicated, and other players on the team came back. They got a DB on that team named Sauce that I got to interview. Cincinnati's not afraid of Georgia. Cincinnati's not afraid of anybody. And Luke Fickell and the team got something to prove. So say what you want to say to me, because I cover the American. Feel how you want to feel about what I'm about to say. But this college football playoff committee never let a team in that deserved it when it came to UCF of 2 years and Cincinnati of last year. And Texas A&M of last year and Boise State and other teams along the way. Cincinnati, this moment is not too big for them. I'm not looking at this as David and Goliath. I'm looking at this as Cincinnati versus Alabama. And Bama, people forget, were embarrassing against Clemson in recent history. There are teams that have scored 0 points in the college football playoff. There's teams that have been blown out. And there's a Notre Dame team that had no business being there that got spanked both times. So no matter what happens to Cincinnati, let me be clear. Unless they can score negative points, they're not going to look any worse than Clemson, Ohio State, Washington, and Notre Dame have all looked, as well as Alabama, in bowl games that are inside of the college football playoff. I proudly, happily, without doubt, pick Cincinnati. Let's go Bearcats! So, with that being said, we're going to jump into our next one. The All-State Sugar Bowl. And guess who's in the Sugar Bowl? It's the Lane Train. And I hope that PJ is watching this game, drinking whatever he wants out of the only cup that he should be drinking out of, and that's the Ole Miss cup that I got him because it's Lane Train Day on the January 1st, New Year's 6th All-State Sugar Bowl. ESPN at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Baylor. Baylor's the reason why Cincinnati's in the college football. No, Cincinnati's in the college football playoff because they're undefeated and you need to stop your nonsense. Baylor played some really good defense. Now they're going up against some really good offense with Ole Miss and that Lane Train. What are your thoughts, PJ?
No, this will be a good game to watch too. This will be a high flying game, that's for sure. I mean, Lane is going to be throwing it all over the field. It's listed as a pick'em game, really. It's pretty close, and Baylor should be in that conversation, being one of the teams that deserved a shot in the playoffs. But they just didn't win enough, and neither did Lane. But Lane is ready to go, I think. And I had my cup out yesterday, my Ole Miss cup, and because of that, I'm picking Ole Miss.
And I'm picking Ole Miss in that Lane Train too. Baylor favored by 1.5. These games are close. I'm going with that. How about this one, Papa Joe? You're gonna have to take a nap in between the beginning of me reading the name of this bowl and the end of it. So you're gonna have to pack it in because I thought the Music City Bowl had a long name in recent history, but this name takes the cake as the longest name for any of the bowls this season that we have spoken about up to this point. The San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, Tuesday, December 28th on Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern Time from Petco Park in San Diego, California. Lily was like, Petco? NC State taking on UCLA. Man, UCLA gets spanked by all them teams on the East Coast when they play the American, when they play the ACC. They get spanked up and down the field in the Chip Kelly era. And NC State, Dave Doran, that's my dude. That man got time, that man built, and he puts a lot of guys in the NFL. NC State, UCLA, and the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, or as people like to call it, the SDCCUHB.
NC State is a real good team, and they're going to be even better next year. Dave Doran is a really good coach and has been over the years. UCLA, under Chip Kelly, hasn't played the best, but they seem to surprise from time to time. I'm not sure that anyone's after Chip Kelly to be his coach again, but I like NC State in this game.
And I'm going with NC State as well. Dave Doran all dang day against a team that really hasn't proven much in recent history. Because the Pac-12 really hasn't proven much in recent history. That's why it was smart for Lincoln Riley to go to USC, because that conference is wide open, and if he gets like 8 or 9 wins, he's going to look really, really good. He's really smart. Leave the team that's going into the SEC and going to be gobbled up by it to go to a conference that's got a wide open opportunity. Smart for Lincoln Riley. The Rose Bowl game, Saturday, January 1st, ESPN, 5 p.m. in Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. Ohio State, overrated, and Utah. Your thoughts on this one, PJ?
This is going to be a good game. I mean, Ohio State deserves to be favored, even though they haven't been favored in half of their games. I like Utah because actually I like something different. And Utah has come a long way the last couple of years. And I'm not sure Ryan Day at Ohio State has what it takes to keep winning in the Big Ten. And because of that, I'm picking Utah.
Utah spoiled Oregon not 1 but 2 years in a row from having any hopes of the college football playoff. And guess who Oregon beat? Ohio State. So the team that beat you, if A equals B and B equals C, sometimes A does equal C. I'm going with the Utah Utes, who just landed Syracuse transfer, Landon Morris, who fans never really got to see. I think he has 4 years of eligibility, if not 3. And that tight end wide receiver is going out to Utah, which means I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to the Utah Utes. Ohio State favored by 6.5. I'm picking Utah with PJ. UCLA's favored by 1 in the game we just talked about with NC State. We got 4 more to go, PJ. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Tuesday, December 28th, ESPN, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Played at the Liberty Bowl where I was at 2 years ago to watch Memphis and Cincinnati and have the best barbecue chicken I've ever had in my life. Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee. Texas Tech going up against Mississippi State, PJ. What you got for this one? Texas Tech that just fired their coach that came from Utah State that hired my guy DeAndre Smith. And Mississippi State, the old home of current Syracuse quarterback Garrett Schrader.
This is a good storyline, too. You got Mike Leach playing his old team at Texas Tech, who he still has a lawsuit against for unlawful dismissal. So he's got a lot going for him in this. This game is going to be a ball to watch. There's going to be, I predict, probably well over 1,000 yards. I like Mississippi State.
I'm going Mississippi State in this one, too. Garrett Schrader, I think your old alma mater is going to get it done. And this game is Mississippi State favored by 8. The Outback Bowl. Saturday, January 1st, New Year's Six Bowl, believe it or not. The Outback Bowl, ESPN2, noon Eastern Time, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Penn State versus Arkansas, or as other people like to call it, Arkansas. Penn State up against Arkansas. Arkansas pushed Alabama this season. Arkansas has done some really good things in recent history. They're not the Arkansas that you thought they were. They're a lot better. And Penn State, sometimes I wonder how they even got to a bowl game this year. What are your thoughts?
Penn State loses their defensive coordinator, and they hire the ex-Miami coach, Manny Diaz, to take over the defense. I'm not sure he's going to be there for this game, but it goes to show you how these guys move around so much. I like Arkansas. I'm
going with Arkansas as well in this matchup. So Arkansas to win the game in the Outback Bowl. Final two to talk about, PJ, and let's see who's favored in this. Penn State's favored by 2.5. Basically, every time the Big Ten plays anybody, they're favored. Here's the number 2, roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. And shout out to roofclaim.com. That was also the main sponsor of the AAC championship game. So shout out to them for that. And now that I've said their name on the show, if I say it 2 more times, roofclaim.com, roofclaim.com. Now they have to be a sponsor and they owe me monies. Roofclaim.com, Boca Raton, Saturday, December 18th, ESPN at 11 a.m. at FAU Stadium in Boca Raton, Florida. We see Western Kentucky take on Appalachian State, App State, however you want to call it. I say Appalachian because it's the Appalachian Trail. So Western Kentucky, Appalachian State at the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. What you got, PJ?
Well, you got one team that throws a lot, one team that runs a lot. It depends on what your likeness is. Because of that, I think I like Appalachian State because if you run the ball, that means you're taking time off the clock and making first down. So I'm taking Appalachian State. I'm taking
Appalachian State as well in this game. They are the team that played spoiler to Coastal Carolina's hopes this year. Appalachian State favored by 3. The over-under is almost 70 points. Last game to talk about. Part of the college football playoff. We did the other part earlier. The Capital One Orange Bowl. And I've been to that Capital One. Capital One used to sponsor a bunch of stuff. The Capital One Orange Bowl, Friday, December 31st, ESPN, 7:30 p.m., Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. Michigan, Georgia. A team that was ranked number 1 for the majority of the season in Georgia, and a team that did nothing to be ranked in the top 6, but eventually defeated Ohio State, which I respect, in Michigan. What do you have, PJ?
Jim Harbaugh's running out of time up there in Michigan. I know he does a good job. He wins a lot of games. He's got a good record. But he's playing a different animal here. This is a seriously good Georgia team. I'm surprised that Alabama scored as much that they did against them, but Alabama's Alabama. They came up with the best plan, plus they got the Heisman Trophy winner for this year. And Michigan does not have a Heisman Trophy winner in their backfield. So, Michigan's going to have to pray to stay in this game. I like Georgia.
And I want to make a note here. I put the Roof Claim post on here, and it tagged their website. So now they really do need to pay me for a sponsorship. I'm going with Georgia. I want to see Cincinnati, Georgia. I want to see a rematch of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I was there. I saw what happened. A lot of people forgot what happened because they just looked at the end results. They didn't look at the game itself. So I want to see Cincinnati, Georgia. I'm picking Georgia to win this game. With that being said, PJ and I will take our final step aside of today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, we will give thoughts on what Dino Babers had to say on National Signing Day 2022, Part 1, and we'll wrap things up. As we have been with you all morning, we're going to bring you into the afternoon. We'll talk with you right after this fast break inside the Cafe Kubal Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thanks for being with us.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every single time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market every Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. for their general store, their indoor dining, and their drive-through pickup window. 3 different ways to experience an amazing local place that is constantly finding ways to expand, evolve, and progress. Rebecca Alford and her team at the Millhouse Market are second to none. That's why they're absolutely worth the drive every single time for their homemade breads, desserts, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our taste buds and ingrained in our community, the Millhouse Market, there for you and perfect for the holiday season and Christmas season for gifts when they have soaps that are made by local companies, as well as seasonings, jewelry, clothing, children's toys, sauces, honeys, syrups, all made locally, paying it forward by helping out their brothers and sisters of the companies in Central and Upstate New York. The Millhouse Market, there for you and available on the app. Search Millhouse Market on the Google Play or Apple App Store today. Go through their menu, find whatever your favorite is going to be, and I challenge you to keep that favorite because they always find a way to get you to try something new. The Millhouse Market is incredible, and they're absolutely worth going to every single week, including a bistro menu that changes on the weekends, so you definitely want to go every single week. It's at 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. worth the drive every single time. Back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios, PJ and I have given you an expanded show because we started the broadcast by talking with you about Jacksonville and the firing of Urban Meyer. We have now gone to all 43 bowl games, which means that 86 of the 130 FBS teams are playing a game in the postseason. And now, one of those 44 teams, ironically, that's not playing a game in the bowl season is Syracuse. Dino Babers had some things to say yesterday, and the graphic is up on your screen for those watching on YouTube and Facebook. What we learned from National Signing Day 2022 Part 1. 12 players signed to Syracuse. One of them, a punter from Australia. Dino has some Northeast signees, thank God. One from New York, not upstate New York. 2 from New Jersey and 1 from Maryland. He did not attend a single local high school football game all season long. He admitted. The class was locked in before the coaches were fired and left. So multiple coaches fired, multiple coaches left the program. He said the class was locked in before that, so it wasn't an issue. He said they're about halfway done recruiting for 2022. And I kid you not, he actually said this. When asked what he was looking for in an offensive coordinator, he said he's looking for an offensive coordinator that scores points. Of the 22 starters in 2021, 17 are back. He says Sean Tucker, one of the top rushers in the nation and the all-time single-season leading rusher in Syracuse football history, passing Joe Morris's record that was held for 42 years. He said Sean is still with the team. As of now, he is. He didn't say that. I'm saying that as of now. So again, that's what we've learned. You can watch my videos of my questions with Dino on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube, which is Wake Up Call DT, all one word. I asked Dino about losing more than 15 players to the transfer portal. I asked him about recruiting the Northeast and the importance of the 5-hour radius. I asked him about getting back into homes for face-to-face recruiting and how aggressive he plans to be in the transfer portal that's affected him in a negative way. How is he going to use it? So you can watch those responses on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT on my timelines, and on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Make sure you subscribe. So that's what we learned, PJ. 12 signs, some from the Northeast. The school or the state he took the most out of, once again, is Florida with 3. He did not attend a single local high school game, flew all over the country, but didn't have any want to be at any high school game seeing any one of these kids play. Said the class was locked in before the coaching changes. Recruiting's halfway done. Looking for an OC that scores points. Most of the starters are back. And Sean Tucker is still on the team. Those are the main takeaways. What are your thoughts?
Well, I have to admit that the last couple of years I've been listening to you very carefully and following the news articles about Syracuse. I really haven't followed them for quite a number of years, but since we've hooked up here, I've been following them pretty closely. Dino Babers is not cut from the mold of a normal football coach. All the football coaches that I grew up with here in the South certainly recruit locally, and they do their very best to recruit locally so they can have good teams. Now, in Florida, it's a little bit different because this is a very fertile state for players, and frankly, University of Florida or Miami or Florida State really doesn't have to go out of the state to get the teams, the players that they want. I'm not sure Dino understands what it takes to get good players. I mean, you just can't call up and say, "Hi, I'm Dino Babers from Syracuse. I'm going to offer you a scholarship," without doing anything about it. Watching him, go watching film or something like that, talk to their coaches. He's from a different beat. I don't get it. And subsequently, he hasn't performed on the field. I think he gets good enough players to win up there. I think I've heard you say this a couple years ago that I said, for a coach to get the best out of 3-star players, it's Dino Babers, and he does. He gets a lot of 3-star players, and they do well for him. But I don't understand his logic or reasoning on putting together a football team. Maybe it's time for him to take a walk.
And, and for me, looking at this, I've become exhausted. I'm frustrated. I'm confused. I don't get it. Again, him and I have a good relationship. We've talked a lot. He's not always been honest with me. I don't forget things like that. So, recruiting locally to me is imperative. It's important. I know it's not Florida, but coaches understand that 5-hour radius is supposed to mean something. You recruit from your backyard out. Why is Greg Schiano doing better at Rutgers? He's recruiting locally. What did Steve Addazio do to make 7 bowl games in 8 years? He recruited Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, New York. The majority of his team came from Massachusetts or the Northeast. He would have one guy from California, one guy from Florida, one guy from Texas. But the majority of his team came from Massachusetts or surrounding Northeast states. So how does a team right by Syracuse, 4 hours away, how did they recruit the Northeast and go to a bowl game almost every single year under Steve Addazio? But Dino thinks that the talent's not there. Let me name a few players. Just a few. That came from Central New York that didn't go to Syracuse. Dorsey Levens won a Super Bowl. Latavius Murray still playing in the NFL right now with the Baltimore Ravens running back. Mike Hart went to Michigan, went on to the Indianapolis Colts. Stevie Scott, the all-time single-season true freshman running back leader in the history of Indiana. Mike Washington Jr. played in his first game at Buffalo, coming out of CNS this past season. John Phillips, a starter on the offensive line at Boston College that went to bowl games. How long? Tyler Days, another guy who went on to Boston College and started. Tyler Rouse, who was considered the hardest working player of all 85 rostered players at Boston College at the time he was there. How many names does it take? Servassier Dennis just won a championship with Pittsburgh in the ACC. How many names does it take for somebody to care? Dino said, and I quote, "I did not get out to a local game this year." But he on a plane, and he's flying and recruiting Hawaii. So is Dino recruiting, or is he just taking mini vacations? Because my question about whether or not this talent is good enough, Nick Saban's been up here from Alabama and recruited here. The Carolinas have recruited here. Pitt's recruited here. Rutgers has recruited here. The Big Ten in general has recruited here. What is it going to take to give a you-know-what about Central and Upstate New York? And let me just say something that was really damning. This was really damning. This is something that you should really think about before you say it. I wasn't able to get out to any games locally this year. Dino, the NYSPHSAA, which oversees upstate New York football, all 5 of their championship games were played in the Dome. The Class A, AA, Class B, Class C, and Class D were all played in the Dome. Dino, I went to the games, and the only reason why I didn't go to the games on Saturday after going to the games on Friday was because I had to fly to Cincinnati. You weren't doing anything. You're not in a bowl game. You're not preparing for anything. They came to your house. Dino says all the time, this is our house, this is our house, this is our house. No, it's not. It's my house. You're a tenant in my house. And right now you're not paying your rent. So here's my issue. We have a good relationship. Okay? But for you to stand at a podium and say, and I quote, I did not get out to a local game this year when 10 of those teams came to your doorstep from all over. They came to you. Your office is about 4 minutes from the Dome. That is where you practice. That is where you play. That is where you bring all your recruits from Georgia and Florida and Tennessee and all over the country, and you show them this is where you could play. One of the kids you offered, Syer Torrance, won a sectional championship and a state championship in the Dome. He was there twice, and you didn't come once. A kid that you recruited, that you said you wanted, you didn't even walk to the Dome to see the guy whose offer you gave to him. Dino, you don't care about Central New York. You don't care about upstate New York. You're not going to build a house here. You're not going to live here. You're not going to stay here. You're not going to make anything here and spend the rest of your life building it. You don't care about us. You don't. And I know that now. When you can make a statement that you have not been to a game all season long. These kids had an entire year taken from them, ripped from them. How disrespectful you are. You want their parents to buy season tickets? Their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, their boyfriends, their girlfriends, them? What you just said to Central New York, what you just said to CNS, to CBA, to Liverpool, to West Jenny, to Tioga, to Shenango Forks, to Windsor, to Union Endicott, to Maine Endwell. What you just said to those schools is spend money coming to see me, but I won't come to see you for free. It takes 10 minutes for me to drive to your game, a half an hour to drive to your game, an hour to drive to your game, and I'd rather hop on a plane and fly my butt to Hawaii and fly down to Florida and fly over to Michigan, but I'm not going to spend 5 seconds with your kids, not even the ones that I recruited. Dino, you and I may disagree on some things, and we may agree on some things. But the fact that you did not see a single player in the state of New York play a game is disgraceful. Greg Schiano's laughing in your face. Steve Adazio's laughing in your face. Randy Etzel's laughing in your face. Paul Pasqualoni's laughing in your face. You can't get more dumb than that comment. You can't get more ignorant than that comment. You are not a head coach. You're a poser. And I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I'm sorry that I'm saying what I'm saying right now, but I'm at a point right now where I know these kids, I know their parents, I know their coaches. You disgust me. And after you said you never went to a game, you said, but I call the coaches. No, you don't. Because I know them. You don't call them. You've shut them out of your practice. You've shut them out of your film study. You've shut them out completely. You don't want anything to do with us, but you want us to waste money on you. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. And to Pittsburgh, to Clemson, to North Carolina, to Rutgers, to Indiana, to every school. I love Central and Upstate New York. I love these kids. Any coach that wants to call me to know about the talent and to know the coaches that I know and to talk to me about the people that I know, I am now saying to 129 FBS schools and every FCS school and every D2 and D3 school and JUCO school in America, you can have my phone number, you can reach out to me, and I will be more than happy to make it my priority to do everything I can for your kid to get looked at. Because the coach down the street that could walk out of his front door and fall on the doorstep of the high school won't even come there. So guess what? I am now proudly recruiting for every single place in America that actually gives a crap about our kids. I'm done with this garbage. I'm done with the BS. I'm done with the lying. And the fact that you didn't go to one single game that was played in the Dome, that is disgusting. You didn't go to them. They came to you. It's awful to hear that you didn't go to a game, a single game. But Dino, when 5 New York State championship games are played in the place that you play football in, you couldn't go to one game when they came to you? Upstate New York came to you. You didn't have to do a damn thing but walk in the front door. And you had stuff that you had to do. You were too busy losing. You were too busy losing half your team to the transfer portal. I'm sick of it. They came to you. They stood on your doorstep. and you didn't even have the respect to come and see them when it took nothing for you. You didn't have to hardly move. You could have literally started at the top of the hill and rolled your butt to the dome. You didn't even have to walk there. I am so disgusted with the fact that you said you didn't go to a single game when the New York State Championships were played in your house. That is disgusting. It is disgraceful. It is not how you win. It is not what you do. And there are not successful coaches in America that think the way you think. And I'm done with it.
All done.
It had to be said, PJ.
I know that. Well, let's see what kind of response you get.
So with that being said, Papa Joe, as always, I appreciate you and I thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for spending 3 hours with us today. And thank you for being the incredible person you are. And thank you for, no matter where you are and where you're living, that you have never forgotten your home and that you've always supported Central and Upstate New York. I appreciate that. I thank you for that. And I love you and MT as always.
Okay. A lot of fun, and frankly, F Urban. Bye.
Take care. That coming from Papa Joe here where Sports Meets Life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And I'm over it. I'm over it. This is not a personal attack. Any coach that would say, I didn't go to any games for an entire year, especially when those games were played in your home stadium, I would have a problem with any coach saying that. This isn't a Dino thing. This is any coach that would come to any school anywhere in this world and tell the community, I didn't care enough to come out and see you guys. Well, Danny didn't say he didn't care enough, but if he did care, he would have been there. If he cared, he would have been there. So he didn't care enough because he would have been there. So it might be nice to use the company's credit card to go fly around all over the country. But the kids here, even if you didn't recruit them, even if you didn't give them an offer to just show up at their practice, it takes nothing for them to be there. You know what coaches tell me when I ask them about college coaches? They talk to me about Scott Schaefer and Tim Lester, Chuck Bulla. They talked to me about Schaefer's staff. It was 7 years ago. But the only coaches they smile about, these high school coaches, are the coaches that used to come and see them. Coaches that used to hold clinics. Dino, you're telling me in 365 days you don't have one day that you can spend with the local community? Out of 365 days of the year, you don't have one day that you can spend. Not one. Not an hour. Not 1 hour of one day. You don't have any. You got no time? You're that busy? A coach that's this busy losing boggles my mind. So yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm upset. I feel disrespected. Of course I do. Because this community deserves better than, yeah, I didn't make it to any game. Not even the ones that were played in the stadium that I coach in. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it should not be commended, and it should not be supported. It shouldn't be. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. And it's wrong. And it needs to stop. And if Dino would call one coach today or go to one practice or do one thing today to talk to a local kid, God, I would love that. I would love that. But apparently I'm asking for too much. With that being said, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, live Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Watch on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and you can listen on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com. After the shows go live, you can check out the archives. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on YouTube, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, TuneIn, and Stitcher, amongst others. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these platforms, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a special thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, Wildcat Sports Pub, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Progressive Dental, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Lemoyne Dolphins, Millhouse Market, Honda City of Liverpool, PB&J's Lunchbox, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. Fins up every single day of the week, every day of the year. The Lemoyne Dolphins are here every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and our signature segment, Dolphin Time, happens first and third Wednesdays with AD and DT episodes featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, and every second and fourth Wednesday with the Dolphin Dive featuring student athletes, coaches, and or staff members speaking on why they chose Lemoyne and what it means to them. Check it all out by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Wake Up Call DT, subscribing to wakeupcalldt.com and clicking on the Lemoyne tab, and by going to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of the Marywood Pacers. Marywood University, my alma mater, all throughout each month on Fridays, you can have specials with Marywood University being featured here with you to end out our shows on Friday mornings. Pacer Pride is what it's called, and those episodes are available to you by subscribing to our YouTube channel for free, Wake Up Call DT, as well as by going to the Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com and subscribing there. And you can find out more information by going to marywoodpacers.com. For their executive director of athletics, coaches, and student athletes, the spotlight has never been greater on Marywood University, and Wake Up Call is bringing you that opportunity with Pacer Pride. With that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. From the Cafe Kubal Studios, I thank you for watching and listening. This has been Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I want to be clear once again. This is not a personal attack on Dino. This is any coach that would tell the community, I don't come and see you, I would have a problem with. So this is not a Dino thing. This is something that I would be against no matter who it was. Could be Doug Marone, could be Scott Schaefer, could be Paul Pasqualoni, could be anybody. Paul was smart enough, and he won. Coach Mack was smart enough, and he won. Ben Schwartzwalder was smart enough, and he won. Heck, Doug Marone even did some stuff, and he won. And Scott Schaefer was out in the community with his assistant coaches, and I believe he was going to get to a point where he won. But to tell the kids you don't come out and see them, a statement like that could make nobody show up to the Dome. So maybe that's how the community speaks to you, is they don't give the money back that the school wasted on your salary. If you're going to make a bold statement like that to the community, there could be a repercussion in how many butts are in those seats. Not that there's many in there right now. Dino, just please stop and realize the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And for the love of God, you need about 30 to 40 spots filled. You can't take anybody from Central New York. Give them a chance. You're running out of chances. The least you could do is give somebody a chance. This is Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Thank you. God bless you. No stress. And please, as always, do your best. I'll talk with you soon.